What is going on, everybody? Man, oh man. I'm going to take that off the screen eventually, but I just love it so much. Man. What's everyone drinking tonight? I'm drinking Body Armor Strawberry Banana flavor in the great state of Texas. Yeah. Man. By the way, wanted to show you guys some Kalash Bash clips because I think you have like 2 or 3 days to pre-reg for tickets. We have, as of today, over 1,000 people pre-registered for tickets, meaning that's a lot of people that are gonna get early access to tickets, almost more than we have tickets available. So I believe there should be a link in the description of this live. You can go register for tickets. It takes 2 minutes and then come on back. You're basically going to get early access to tickets. The match sells out in a day. If you really want to shoot the match, you need to go early reg. They're going to go live on November 1st, which is a Wednesday, at like a reasonable hour this time. We're not going to make you like stay up to midnight. But if you want to shoot the match, I don't want you to miss a ticket to the match. You're going to need that early access. Man, oh man, I'm so freaking excited. Like before you know it, it's going to be here. Turn the music down. Make sure the music's not too loud. I see we got AK Quality Enforcement in the chat, and I'm glad he's here because what a week this has been. Insane week. It seems like I think last Sunday I released a video about like 5.56 AKs basically becoming the new normal, totally kind of taking over. And wouldn't you know it, a week later, 223 jumps up 10 cents per round. Like that, like a day after the video posted. So poor timing on my part. But yeah, Vickers news. I want to talk about that too, to the best of my knowledge. But man, yeah, the Vickers stuff is crazy. And I want to start off by saying, I think I never knew how much of an AK guy Vickers really was. But I don't think anyone can top Vickers as far as how dedicated he is to the platform. I mean, my man just wanted some AN94 parts. You know what I mean? I think we could all use a couple AN94 parts for trade of goods and services in the form of like filming and editing and video production. I make you video, you give me AN94 parts. Yeah. Coming for AK-12s, man, maybe. We can talk about that too. Man, a lot of you guys already here. About 100 of you watching. Very cool. Yeah, what a week, man. One of these days, I need to get AK Quality Enforcement to come on this live. He seems to be privy to a lot of information before a lot of people are. And he's a good dude. Know him personally. He would be a really cool live session. If you guys would like me to have AK Quality Enforcement come on live, maybe he'll have to wear a mask or something, but I think it would be cool to have him on. All right, let me see who's in the chat. I see Big Papa Fluffy. I see Jamie Midwest Savage. Go subscribe to his Instagram and his YouTube channel. Really good AK content. He just hit 1,000 subscribers. Let's get him up to 10,000 ASAP. Yeah, man, but wanted to talk about a lot. A lot has happened. We just got back from a really fun trip to Las Vegas. We went to, unfortunately, not like full-blown Red October, but we went to the Red October Kurtz, as they call it. Those of you who don't know what Red October is, it was kind of like the first of this big AK event movement that has happened. They started back in 2016. It was started back by Jim Fuller, Rifle Dynamics, and Brian Nelson. AK only match. Back then they had like 100 people. Now it's grown to be quite large. It inspired events like Kalash Bash, Thunder on the Tundra. I'm sure it's inspired things like Red October, Cold War, all these other big matches based around the AK. But anyway, they had to cancel this year, unfortunately, for what seems to be a lot of strange reasons. But they had like a consolation match where it was a 3-stage match, something very small in Las Vegas. And we went anyway. We were there 5 or 6 days. And the big bummer about it was I had practiced with my K101. I wanted to shoot the Iron Sight Division. The K101, it's kind of like a SAM-5, but not really. It's a milled 5.56 Bulgarian kit. Had it all J-Macked out, and man, I felt like freaking lethal with that thing. I think I took first place at Jim's match with it. I was feeling really good. And then like a month before Red October, they canceled. But we went anyway to the smaller one, and we actually did pretty good. Rachel did really good. Rachel took high lady. Out of like 5 ladies that were there, she scored the highest out of all the ladies. That was a big deal for her. She got a little trophy for it. So make sure you congratulate Rachel in the comments. She's also the mod. And she's not a kind god. She's a fair god, not a kind god. She's the mod in the comments, and she took high lady at Red October this year. So congrats to her, man. She shot the Little Krebs mini barrel, and man, she did such a great job. And it's actually good. There were so many times on a few stages where you were shooting. I mean, even though it was 3 stages, that the round count was super high. One stage had a 100 round count if you shot it clean. So that was like their consolation. We'll give you a 3-stage match, extremely high round counts on every stage, difficult stages too. So I think Rachel having a very small, lightweight AK helped her out, because she is very small and lightweight herself. So holding up a full-size AK for that many rounds and stuff. There was one stage with a spinner that was impossible for her to spin. It was at like 55 yards. You know, she's got like an 8-inch barrel, so that 5.56 wouldn't even wiggle it. But I don't think any of the other girls spun it, so, you know, she got high lady. I shot the iron sight division, and somehow I took 2nd place overall. The gentleman that beat me is Brian Nelson, the guy that created Red October, and he shoots for Terran Tactical. He's a freak of nature. He's the fastest person I've ever seen on an AK. He's pretty quick. Mario Parada was shooting. He shot in 2 different divisions. Somehow I beat him. He had 1 bad stage, and that'll never happen again. So I finally freaking beat Mario at a match, and I'm never gonna let him forget it. We've got the trophies around here somewhere. Hey, babe, bring me your high lady mag. I don't know where my 2nd place mag is. I got it somewhere, but I'll show you Rachel's little trophy that they gave her. Yeah, Mario's a freaking beast. He shot it twice on irons and on a dot. I was going into Saturday in 1st place, and then all the Sunday shooters came out, and I watched Brian just murk my score by like 20 seconds. Here we go. Here's Rachel's prize. Red October Kurtz, and she got high lady. You did what? Oh, Morty ate her pizza when she walked away from her plate. He'll do that. Does it have Sailor Moon on it? No. It's just a quick little laser and grape. Remember, they like kind of had to throw this match together last minute, so at least they did something for prizes, so that's cool. And you know what they said at the end of the match? They said anyone that places 1st through 3rd or wins one of like the side divisions, like high lady, high senior, things like that, you get into Red October for free next year. So Rachel and I don't have to pay for tickets next year. So yeah. In Mario's defense, even though I did beat him, in Mario's defense, ever since he opened SOF Defense, I got his shirt on right now with the little Bobby Hill Cupid angel. In his defense, though, dude, he told me straight-faced, he has not shot an AK since Kalashnikon. I know Jamie's in the comments. You know how long ago that was. He was like, bro, I have not shot an AK since Kalashnikon. He basically function checked his AK and went and shot Red October. Mario has always surprised me. He can go, I don't even think he practices, because I've asked him how he practices. He's like, dude, I'll go out and shoot like 20, 30 rounds before a match. I'll go out and shoot like 200, right? He just, he can kind of stay switched on. He doesn't really need to shoot constantly to maintain his skill level. He's just always kind of there. So I definitely have to give him props there. He can just switch it on without practicing for months. But not this time. Not this time, because I got him. But yeah, man, so that was cool. Red October was a lot of fun. We were there. We got into Vegas Tuesday. Rachel and I partied like a couple of farm animals all night Tuesday night. Had a crazy time, got super drunk, barely made it back to the house. And then Wednesday and Thursday, I got super sick. I ran 100-degree fever. We had to cancel so much. We had a comedy show. I don't know if you guys know this, but we're huge Tom Segura fans. We're big mommies. That's why I'm always talking about all you kings and queens above 18, but we love Tom Segura. Christina P was in town. We had tickets. We were excited, and I got sick as shit. Couldn't go. So that was a bummer. We had a huge trip to the Zion National Park planned. I couldn't go because I was running fever. And my beautiful wife, who cares about me very much, went out and partied without me Thursday night while I was sweating myself to sleep. And she came home at 3 a.m, kicked the side of the bed, made me wake up and come sit with her in the bathroom while she puked for an hour while I was dying of a fever. Very, very thoughtful of her. I wanted to set her on fire that night, but we got past it. Later in that weekend, we went and shot the match and had a great time. It would surprise you how much puke can come out of a person her size. Quite a bit. It's not proportional to her size, the amount of liquid that she can puke out of her tiny little body. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. I shot Red October running about 99 degrees, and I was miserable. I just felt so bad. I took some antibiotics that I got from Kevin that were almost expired, and we made it home. And I was sick for another week after Red October. I'm just now today finally off my meds, finally feeling better. It was pretty bad. I ran into Jim Fuller back in the day when Red October was out there. Yeah, that's how I met Jim for the first time, was Red October 2016, and I was super intimidated by him. He had Mario and I were just talking about this. Back in those days, Jim had this aura around him. He'd never really been to public stuff. If you didn't live in his general area, you probably never would have met him. And that's the first time I met him. I'll never forget it. Yeah, man. So that was Red October. Currently, we have another big match coming up in a couple weeks. Mike, I know you're going. Sons of Liberty. The Sons of Liberty match. We already have 2 videos on that match. That is one of the most difficult, high round count, high stage count matches that I shoot all year long at Eagle Lake, the same location that we do Kalash Bash. I don't know what I'm shooting yet. I've got a huge M90 update. You guys are going to see it in tomorrow's video. I had some gunsmithing done to it. That's pretty impressive stuff. I've seen one other guy do what I did to my M90, and I did it because he did it to his M90. So I think these are the only 2 that anyone's ever done this type of mod to. So I'm pretty excited. And I've done so much with the M90. I've made so many videos. I had to do something different with it. So I made a non-reversible change. So I might shoot that. And I think it would be cool because I shot the M90 2 years ago at Sons and bombed so bad with that gun. I've always wanted to take that back and do well because I crushed with the AK-74 last year. Relative to how well AR-15 shooters do, I think I did pretty good. So it would be super cool to go back with the NATO AK that I bombed previously with after having some work done to it and do really well. But there's a chance that Krebs might have the 5.56 M23 ready in time. And if he can get that to me where I have time to practice with it, I'd like to shoot that 5.56 M23 because the 7.62 was so unbelievably capable. So awesome. And that match, the ratio of gypsy tears you can get from beating AR guys is so lopsided. There's just so many of them to beat. I'm bringing an AK no matter what. Without question, I'm doing it. I just want something I can crush with. But in all seriousness, the dudes that go shoot that match are super cool. But man, it is nice going out there and scoring higher than some really high-end AR-15s. It is like eating gypsy tears. It just makes you feel good. And you know what's good about gypsy tears? It keeps the AIDS away. No one get in. That's why you got to wear them around your neck. Yeah, and you know what's cool? I think several AKs are going to shoot at Sons this year. Me, if I can talk Sully into doing it, but I know he won't. I think Neil might come shoot it maybe, so that'll be another AK. I think John's going to shoot it. Jose signed up for it. Who else is going that we know, babe? Babe. No one listening to me? Yeah, there's going to be a few of us. I bet you at least half a dozen AKs are finally going to represent at Suns. Last year, there were 2 out of how many people shoot that match, Mike? Between 100 and 160 people, 2 AKs were there last year. 2. The year before that, 1. AK Air Day is going to be there. Well, there you go. Oh, dude, Kevin's going. Damn, like the whole crew's going to be there. It's going to be so cool. Squad 9. Mike, are we on the same squad? I don't know what squad I'm in. Let me look. Yeah, it's going to kill me now. Here, I got my phone right here. I know I squatted with a bunch of the Arizona guys. Let me look here. I'll just tell you. Here we go. What have I done to my phone? All right. Dashboard. Practice Score has this neat little dashboard feature. Dissident Mike and Lan. Are they shooting it? I guess they are. Suns. Here we go. I'm shooting with Sully, Neil, TJ. I'm not sure who TJ is. Travis, Marcus, Matthew, Nathan, Aaron, Adam, Sarah, Brad. Wow, I think there's only 2 dudes on my squad that I know. It's going to break Sully's heart, but I wonder if... God, I can't change squads now. Maybe I can. I can change squads. Okay, you're on squad 9. Squad 9's full. Damn, what a fun squad. Vladimir's on that squad. Okay, there might be like a dozen AKs now. This is getting serious. I didn't realize how many of you guys were going. Yes, Rock Crusher, I think you're right. Clay, I think you jinxed the 5.56 ammo. It went up right after that video. Dude, like the day after. When I made that video, I was looking at Ammo Sync. You could get 223 for 35 cents a round. I've got it pulled up right here. Just show you really quick. Let me refresh that. I know Ammo Seek's, in some people's opinion, not the best, but it's okay. 42, between 42 and 45 cents. 10 cents in a week. Damn. I mean, like the day after I made that video. That was not intended to be like a timing thing. It's just like, had the idea, made the video, ammo was 32 cents a round, and then bam, the Lake City. I think that the plant blew up. Hornady blew up the day after I actually edited the video, and then the whole Lake City thing happened the day after I uploaded the video. Damn. World War III Inc. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so yeah, Suns is right around the freaking corner. And just to touch on the other thing we did while we were in Vegas, then we'll get into, I want to talk about the whole Larry Vickers thing. While we were in Vegas, we did some interviews. One of them is going to go live tomorrow. We interviewed John Holton with M13 Industries. If you don't know who that is, he's a gunsmith out of Las Vegas that is pretty well known for a lot of AK-specific gunsmithing, but he does a little bit of everything. What's special about John is way back in 2016, I went to the second ever Red October, and I knew back then, I knew about Krebs Custom, I knew about Fuller, like I knew they were doing some gunsmithing on AKs, but I didn't know that it was like becoming popular to physically and permanently alter your AK for to make a faster, more handy gun. Back then in those days, that was not common. Like Jim Fuller kind of pioneered the whole front-end conversion thing where they were chopping down barrels, they were adding combo blocks, getting rid of cleaning rods. That was a very new thing in 2016, 2017. So I go to the second Red October and I meet John, and he's like, yeah, I'm a gunsmith out here. And he had a couple of AKs that he had built. And I remembered that his AK that he built actually won Red October 2016, the year prior. And I'm like, wow, this dude builds pretty good AKs. And I saw like some custom work. I didn't even know it was possible on AKs back then. Keep in mind, this is 2017. There wasn't a whole lot of hyper custom stuff back then. And I said, screw it. Right after that, I sent him an SLR 106. I bought off Texas Gun Trader for like $900 back then. That's just what they went for. I said, I want the front end conversion. I want the barrel cut to 14.5. I want a pin and weld to break. I want a race. I want a competition AK. And that's what he did. And I think he put a KOP on there because we had also met Fred with KOP, and I thought, this is crazy. You're telling me I could swap up like this? It was so new, so fresh. And John did all that, and I paid him full price because he was just a guy I met at an event. I liked what he did. I paid him for his services, and that was the thing. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know about shipping guns to a gunsmith. I didn't know anything about what that process was like back then. I'm like in my mid-20s back then. I just didn't know. Got it back. The whole process was so great. The gun was recoated. Everything was perfect, and I started destroying with that gun at local matches. I used to have some old footage. It's just not up anymore, but I used to have really old footage of a buddy, Chris, and I shooting a SAM 7 that he had modified by M13 and my SLR 106 that was modified by M13, going to Corpus, going to Trinity, going to Conroe, Houston, any carbine match we could find, we were going, and we started inching our way into the top 10, top 5, top 3, and then he and I would go back to back, first, second, like everywhere we were going with AKs that John had modified. Anyway, I know I ranted for a little bit, but anyway, that's John. That's how I have a relationship with him. And once John started seeing that, he offered to sponsor us, and we became like sponsored competitive shooters because of John and people like J-Mac and, whatever. So I have a full interview with John. We talk about that, kind of how we met, how we started working together, and what it's like being a gunsmith in probably the wildest town in the country, Las Vegas. Like, he told us some stories I couldn't put in the video. Just the people that come in the shop. It's Vegas. It's pretty wild. He showed us inside of his safe. Also, I could not film that, but in his safe, I saw some stuff I can't talk about now since AK-12 is bad. He had several Dragunovs in there that he was modifying for a guy. One of the coolest things I saw, he had a PPSH-41, like a regular one, and then next to it, he had a PPSH-41 with a 16-inch barrel and like a 16-inch barrel shroud. I was like, dang, man, did you make that? He goes, oh, yeah. And he like made a PPSH-41 that was to like legal 16 inches length, and it was so beautifully done and perfect. It looked factory. And he just had a safe full of awesome custom work like this. Had a couple of Galils that were being built while we were there. Had a couple of finished guns that were about to go out on the wall. He had my M90 that was there that we picked up on camera, and you can kind of see what mods we had done. But in the video, we talk about something. I'm a huge fan of Mike Rowe. I'm sure you guys remember Dirty Jobs. A lot of us in this chat are very blue collar. A lot of us have, I know me and Mike talk all the time when we're out on job sites. And John and I were talking about like just the lack of skilled labor and the lack of kids like Gen Z seeing any glamour in learning a skilled trade with your hands, becoming a welder, a plumber, an electrician, a mechanic, a specialized mechanic, like a diesel mechanic or whatever. How that is just not glamorized anymore, to the point where like you don't even have high schools teaching shop class, teaching wood class, teaching any kind of basic electrical anymore. That just doesn't exist in high schools anymore. And we were talking about that, and that's all on camera. And John kind of talks about how there is so much gunsmithing work to do. It's like 1,000 to 1. 1,000 being there's 1,000 people out there with money in hand ready to pay a gunsmith to do work, and one gunsmith for every 1,000 people that need the work done. It's like pipeline welders. They can write their own checks because there's just not a lot of them, and there's so much work to be done. That's like gunsmiths right now. And he's like, dude, we turn people away because we can't handle the amount of workload. And this was common. So and that interview is going to go live tomorrow, but we also interviewed M13 Industries. I'm sorry, MK3 Firearms. Same thing. They were like, there's too much work for any one gunsmith to take on. That they even said in the video, in the MK3 video, that's going to go live in a few weeks. But he was like, dude, there was a time when a gun shop would open up within a mile from us, and we would be like, why are they doing that? We're going to lose so much business. But now with the way things are, they're like, dude, I wish we had 10 gunsmiths near us. He's like, we could send them work. He's like, out of 10 people that hit us up for work, we might do 2 out of 10. We just pick the ones we want to do, and that's all we can handle. And even that has like a 6-month wait. Then we interviewed Mario, same thing. He's like, dude, there are not enough gunsmiths out there for all these people that want work done, especially when you get into like people that have AKs and need a gunsmith that knows AKs, that's willing to do the AK, that has done it before. He's not using your AK to learn how to work on an AK. Like the M13s, the Kilo guns. I know they might have been in the chat earlier. Oh God, who else? Cellrain AK, Halcyon Defense. Who else is out there? SOF. Like these guys that really specialize in AKs. There's, even though we could probably name 10 of them, okay, that's 10. There's thousands of people out there that have AKs that want something done, and they're all waiting 6 months to have it done because that's how many gunsmiths are available. And you got to mail the gun. It's got to get mailed back. There's insurance that goes on the package. All of this is talked about in these videos. It's such an interesting world that these AK-specific gunsmiths live in. So we'll have a bunch of those videos coming out in the future. So rant over. That's what we did in Vegas. A bunch of that. And eventually I'll get the Red October video done where you guys can kind of see what that trip was like as well. We're also going to re-upload last year's Red October 2022. YouTube made me take it down. I put it back up. That'll go live soon. All right. Sorry. I've been reading the comments. So let's do that for a little while. Let me see what you guys are talking about here. Yeah, we're struggling to find generator mechanics. So at my job right now, my boss sends me 2 or 3 resumes a day trying to find a controls technician. Not someone that needs to learn, someone that knows what they're doing, that can hit the ground running, that's like worth the money, because we've had bad experiences hiring guys that aren't what their resume said they were, and once they're hired, they're so hard to get rid of. And these people just don't exist. If they do, they're all in their 30s and 40s. There's like no young people. In my experience, it's not very common for these young people to get into that. Yeah, this world is in a world of hurt once the workforce ages out. You know, that's something that came up in the MK3 firearms interview. They were like, a lot of these older gunsmiths, these like legacy gunsmiths, they're all getting really old and they're dying. And a lot of them might not have an apprentice that they're passing that knowledge on to, and that knowledge is gone. Like, you know, Jim Fuller's not going to be around forever. Mark Krebs is not going to be around forever. When we lose those 2 guys, that's going to be a huge loss of knowledge in the AK gunsmithing world. Just those 2 guys alone. Guys like Gordon Tech that probably don't even work on AKs anymore. You know, when he's gone, that knowledge is gone. Hell yeah, pipeline welder. Feel like we need more. Yeah. Do you feel like it's a lack of interest or too much of a hassle for some people for why there isn't as many gunsmiths? I think it's a combination of things. I don't think, I don't know, man. Like, I want to say there's not that many young people that are okay with guns in general, let alone working on them. But at the same time, I think there's a huge, very young gun culture that's just blowing up right now. And I think that's YouTube and video games getting people very normalized to the gun thing. Big channels like Grand Thumb, Brennan Herrera, whether you love them or hate them, they bring a very young crowd into guns, which is a good thing. How many of those kids wanted to get into gunsmithing? I don't know, but I'm not even sure. It's just skilled labor in general. Plumbing, welding, mechanics, smithing, all the stuff that requires you to know how to use your hands and learn a trade, that is dwindling like crazy. I mean, I graduated high school in 07, and it was all college, college, college. What do you want to do for college? College, college, college. Even back then, it was crammed down your throat. There weren't that many people pulling you to the side saying, you know, you don't have to go to college. I'm not saying college is bad, but if you don't really know what you want to do with your life, do you really need to go have all that student debt to kind of figure out what's the meaning of life and what you want to do for the next 30 years and then pay it off while you're figuring it out? Or I know an electrician that's looking for an apprentice. I know a master plumber that's looking for an apprentice. I know a shop down the road that would be willing to help you get your license to work on automotive mechanic work. got to sweep the floors for a little while, but they'll put you through school to do that, to get certified. Nobody was tapping me on the shoulder in high school, pumping that up. It was college, college, college. Fast forward 12, 15 years since I graduated, it couldn't have gotten better. Dude, we had wood shop and a mechanical class, like a automotive class in my high school. That when I graduated in 07, they both lasted 1 year. In 08, they were gone. And my school is very rural. I live in a very rural small town, Texas, and even that school, all they have is agriculture now. There's no more shop, no more mechanical, no more electrical class at all. They don't even talk about it in school. CW Gunworks, yeah, that's another good one. Another good point. You got to have an FFL. It's not the hardest thing in the world to get. Hardest thing about getting an FFL that people don't understand is just the property. For you to have an FFL, if you own your house and you own the land and you don't live in like an HOA, it's possible you could get an FFL out of your house. But the ATF's really cracking down on that. That used to be very common. You would find FFLs like in neighborhoods. You drive up to like a dude's garage and you're like, this is an FFL to like do a transfer. Yeah, they used to happen all the time. The ATF is not just giving out homeowner FFL anymore. It's like now they want to see a brick and mortar storefront so that you can actually prove you need your FFL to go in the business of whatever it is you're trying to do with guns. So that's honestly the hardest part about it. You got to have a business unit. You have to have a brick and mortar building or something that the ATF has to come take a look at to approve your FFL. That's the hardest part. At that point, you're just filling out paperwork. You send it in, you pay your little fee, you wait, you get your visit, they check out your place, they give you all your paperwork. The visit lasts about an hour, and you most likely will get approved. And that's that. At that point, then you have to get your manufacturing license, become an 0702, get your SOT if you're going to start doing all that, which is honestly just like a tax stamp. It's a bill that you pay once a year. But for just a young kid, take Mario, for instance. Mario had to go get a shop. He had to go. He looked for months and months and months to find a shop that was adequate, that he could afford. The whole combination had to work out, and timing had to be there on his side. Once he got it, then he could apply for the FFL at that address and wait for the visit. That's probably the hardest part. So if you have a young kid that's trying to get into it, you can go to the bank and open up an LLC anytime you want. That's easy. Now go find the property where you're going to get your FFL out of. You have to have money, right? You have to have a huge cash injection up front before you even get approved for the FFL. Then after all that's done, start gunsmithing. So yeah. Yeah, I just picked up my barrel from a neighborhood FFL. Thought that was crazy. I remember the first time I did that, me and my buddy were working out of town somewhere. I don't remember where it was. And I was like, let's just go look at some local gun shops. And I remember just Googling something, and it was something dumb, like Lone Star Arms or whatever. And we were like Googling to the address, and it was in the middle of a neighborhood. And we pull up in a dude's driveway, and I was like, damn. And the guy like opened his garage door, and he had like a little gun shop in his garage. It's like, oh damn. We didn't stick around. I just thought it was weird, but those are a thing. But the ATF is not really keen on approving that much anymore. They really want to see brick and mortar locations. Yeah. Yeah, for some people. And I'm not saying college has no place, but I mean, you need both sides of that spectrum. You need the big brains to go to college and become engineers. You need all that. But you can make just as good a living, if not better, and have hands-on real world experience on your resume that says, I have been this type of technician, this type of electrician, this type of plumber, this type of welder for 6 years at 2 different companies. Here's my list of contacts. Check them. Or you can say, I went to a 4-year college and this is going to be my first job. I can tell you who I would hire, and I can tell you who my company hires. Not people out of college. They want people with hands-on experience, with a little bit of job experience. But then again, that's just not what they talk about in high schools today. They just don't talk about it. And this comes up in all these gunsmith interviews. It's just Matt Allred, who works at MK3, made an awesome point. Matthew is a phenomenal machinist and gunsmith with Browning high powers at MK3, right? Matt and Kevin came from like two different worlds. Matt went to a college, kind of like the Sonoran Desert Institute, right? Went to a college specifically for gunsmithing, has a degree, was formally taught in machine work on a lathe, on a drill press, all the stuff, right? So he's formally educated. Kevin is all self-taught, just worked at, just started messing with 1911s and Brownings on his own, and eventually got hired by some gunsmiths, did some apprenticing, and that's the route he took. And they're both very good at what they do. But Matthew said back when he was waiting to go to school, there was a year wait for him to go to that school. He had money invested, it was paid for, and still had to wait a year before a seat opened up in a class. Fast forward to now, Matthew has a nephew that wants to get into gunsmithing. That's going to the exact same school. The school is barely filling a class up now. There's no wait. The classes are empty. It's the same school Matt went to not that long ago. I'd say within, 10, 15 years ago. In that short period of time, year-long wait to get into a specialized gunsmithing school, now they're barely filling classes up. And they might have even dropped prices. So what's the big difference here? Could it possibly just be just a different generation is not really being pushed to work with their hands? It's not glamorized at all. And I don't want to say, I think guns are more normal than they ever have been. So I don't think it's, kids aren't being brought up around guns. Maybe that's a little bit of it, but I think more kids are being brought up normally around guns now, just with the YouTube channels, the video games and the movies, mainly the YouTube channels. I mean, say what you will about Brandon Herrera. His fan base, I would say, has to be between the bulk of his fan base probably has to be between the ages of 14 and 25. Young kids. They really like this guy who does gunsmithing, employs gunsmiths, talks about gunsmithing all the time. So when stuff like that's happening, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's the lack of kids being exposed to knowing that that's a skilled trade that you can do. I just don't think from elementary school to high school, I don't think anyone talks about skilled labor anymore. It's what college are you going to go to? Are your grades good enough to get in? How are you going to pay for it? Dude has amazing hair. I hate him. Me too. I hate him. I don't hate him. Love his hair, though. Yeah, I think Brandon's great too, but not everyone feels that way. It's so odd. It's so odd the hills people die on when it comes to YouTube channels that they just hate. I don't watch every Brandon Herrera video. Some stuff I can't get into. But what he represents is a very good thing. Building AKs really new. Invest heavily into tooling. For what tooling costs, you can get a decent AK. Yes. It's no alternative to buying AKs. You build AKs because you wanna. And oh man, the tools that John had at his shop, I think he had 6 presses. He had 3 12-tonners. He had a 20-tonner, and I think he had a 30-tonner for those really stubborn AKs, but he had a ton of drill presses. I'm too tired to hate. Yeah, it's such a waste of energy to hate something or someone. So tiring. I can build whatever I want, not what they sell at the store. Yeah. Anyway, let me ask you guys really quick because I want to talk about this, and I'm trying to fully understand everything that's happened. I think I get most of it, but I haven't read everything. Uh, as you all know, Larry Vickers was raided, what, like 2 years ago? Had a whole bunch of guns confiscated, got some back, some he didn't, and ended up selling a number of his law letter machine guns. Who could tell me in the comments what is so special about a law letter machine gun? Can anyone tell me? I think some of you in the comments have FFLs, or at least you're down with the sickness and you know how all that stuff works. Right. For demo purposes. Well, like any post sample machine gun technically is for demo purposes, but right. So a couple ways as a 0702 for you to acquire a post sample machine gun. You can drop your own form and manufacture one. There's Kyber. Tony, you really should hop on here if you're feeling like it. But there's a couple ways to have a machine gun as an FFL. You can drop your own form, manufacture one, and bam. Or if you have a factory machine gun, if it's a factory Colt M4 machine gun, it was born a machine gun, it's always been one. There's no way impossible a civilian can ever own it. And without a law letter, there's no way an FFL can have that. The law letter is basically a letter saying that I want from like a chief of police, I want Larry Vickers with this FFL to procure this STG SIG 551 factory full auto for demo purposes, and it's going to stay at his shop. And that law letter allows Larry Vickers to buy that thing, right? There's that. Law letter truly doing it's intended for demonstration purposes. So if the ATF ever wanted to like look into it, and Larry Vickers had like a couple hundred machine guns through law letters, very extremely rare stuff that was a machine gun from the get-go, right? Maybe that's what drew all this attention to him, because I mean, if anyone knew, if the ATF was like, how does one guy have that many law letters? I wonder if he's been using them for demo purposes like he's supposed to. I wonder if this guy that wrote this law letter has actually ever had Larry bring this thing in for demo purposes. Maybe that's what put a spotlight on him. I don't know. And he's a high profile guy anyway. So anyone with a high profile like that they can make an example of, that's who they would start with. But so basically that's one thing that he got in trouble for. He had a metric ton of machine guns that he procured through law letters. Well, however they got it, they have like text messages and emails and all this stuff, basically asking for law letters as like favors, not for demonstration, basically saying, hey man, Larry asked me to ask you as a favor to him. Would you mind writing this law letter so we can get this really rare factory G36 for this really rare factory, whatever. Could you do us a solid and write this law letter? Like Larry would really appreciate it. Like this is basically what they have documented, what they can prove that happened. And that's legally not how that's supposed to go. I don't care, but that's in the ATF's eyes a big no-no. So he's being indicted. The guys that wrote the law letters are being indicted. The FFL that Larry was working with is being indicted. I think it's like 5 guys all together, all for that. Not only that, the Kalashnikov concern stuff is the most interesting thing that happened here. So if you go check out AK Quality Enforcement on Instagram, I'll show you the article here. It's way too much for us to read it word for word. It's like 7 pages, but I'll give you the cliff notes here. You should go read this. This is interesting. Way more interesting than the whole law letter stuff. Who cares about that? My man wanted some rare machine guns. Who doesn't? I respect Larry Vickers' hustle. I'm just gonna say that out loud. And my man was hustling right here. So basically, if you read this from like way back in like 2014 to deep into the 2020s, you guys remember all the footage that Vickers made when he went to Russia and filmed all the really rare, like the AN-94 and all the counterbalanced AKs, like what he was like it at the Kalashnikov concern plant filming some super rare stuff. Well, I think everyone became best friends after that because there's a lot. There's a lot of correspondence between Larry and some Kalashnikov concern guys. Like after the sanctions, after 2014, and so after the Russian sanctions happened in 2014, like there cannot even be correspondence to Kalashnikov concern about data packs or anything like that. Like even KUSA, when Bill was there, specifically told us, he's like, there's no there. It is after 2014. It is excommunicado. There's no correspondence. There's no talking. There's no nothing back and forth with Kalashnikov concern. That is all. That sanction blocks everything, not just the importation of guns. It's information. It's everything. Well, Lair Bear, through WhatsApp and other encrypted messages, was just real pen pals with the guys at Kalashnikov Concern for years. There is, which honestly, Larry Vickers honestly is kind of a G. Like this dude is a hardcore AK fan. The links he went through, like if you read through it, there's all this conversation way after after 2014 where he's trying to get like parts for AN-94s to get some in the country. And it looks like they were even trying to set something up here in the country that Larry Vickers would even be like the chief engineer of like prototyping and testing over here for Kalashnikov concerned guns to try to distribute them. And like they're trying to, in so many ways, find a way around these sanctions to get these guns here, to get them made, to get them distributed, to get something rolling. And they were like using encrypted messages in WhatsApp to do this for 5, 6 years. But it's a pretty good read and you should read it. And man, and it honestly kind of made me like Larry Vickers a hell of a lot more. It's just like this big, excuse my French, it's just like this big fuck you to the sanctions and everything. It's just like, they're basically saying there's got to be a way we can get around this and make something happen in America. And that's kind of all this was. And it's like, oh, damn. Thank God the ATF came and made sure that we didn't get any naughty data packs from Russia and reverse engineer any of their scary technology, even though they do it to us all the time. Thank God they stepped in and stopped all of this. And Larry's probably going to go to jail for it. And all these other guys he was talking to. But it's a pretty good read. You should go read it. AK Quality Enforcement on Instagram. This is his page right here. Make sure you go give him a follow. Let me pull it up here. Is it going to show me his page? We're on his page. This guy right here. Make sure you go give him a follow on Instagram. He's got all the court case documents on it. It's a really good read, but you guys should go check that out. And then they even show a couple of factory SIG full autos that they got into the country. So yeah, it's all there. It's all there for the reading. Pretty crazy stuff. It's just it's wild. Given his background and his military service and everything, it's just wild that this guy's going to go to prison for anywhere between 4 and 20 years. He hasn't been sentenced yet, but he's pled guilty to a lot of things. It's just wild that he's really going to go to jail for a long time. Didn't hurt anybody. This didn't hurt anybody. No one was physically harmed. This is all just, it's so crazy. Yeah, for nothing. For nothing, really. And I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, like when it comes to the whole law letter thing, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, there are thousands of FFLs out there getting law letters. You think they're demoing those guns all the time? Nope, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Larry's probably just the most famous guy that did that a bunch, He ain't the only one by a long shot. No. But because of this, nobody's writing law letters anymore. There's no one out there that would stick their neck out to write. Even if someone honestly needed an FFL to have a couple guns for demo purposes, like for legitimate reasons, ain't nobody ever writing a law letter again because of this. Nobody. Nobody. Yeah, if y'all got law letter machine guns, better get to demoing. Better call that guy that wrote the letter. Like, hey, when can I come give you a demo? Are you free on Tuesday? Can we document that this demo took place? AK-12s. That's another thing. Apparently, and this is just from the post that I read. I don't even know if the post is still up. AK Quality Enforcement. I'm not going to say your real name, but is the post still up about the guy that got a visit, that got his AK-12 confiscated? Is that post still up? Let me see if it's still up. We'll talk about it. I don't know if that post is still up. Doesn't look like it. Waiting for Gunbroker to confirm. Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong, AK Quality Enforcement. I'll try to hit the cliff notes, but there was a gentleman that was visited by not just the ATF, by a couple other entities. He had bought a built AK-12 from a dealer. They showed up at his house. They confiscated the AK-12 and I guess a bunch of other guns that he had, and basically told him just the AK-12 gun that he had existing in his hands was proof enough that a sanction had been violated. And they took it. So apparently that guy was saying he was going to like sue the manufacturer that he bought it from because he was told, oh no, it's legal to own. Here you go. I'm sure there was a 4473 because he didn't buy a kit. He bought a kit that was already built into a gun. So there was a 4473 involved, which had a paper trail that led to him. Otherwise, how would they have come to his house? But anyway, he got it. So now so that happened. So now everyone that has an AK-12 that's been built into a gun's probably a little uneasy about what that means for people that own them. I wouldn't be too worried if you just like owned a kit, because the kit's like any kit, like any AK kit, any AR kit, anything. There's really no paper trail depending on who you bought it from. It's a kit. It's not a gun. It's not regulated. But this guy bought an AK-12 that had been made into a gun with a paper trail, surely with a 4473. The dealer, I'm assuming, was investigated. They found that guy that through a paper trail that bought one of these guns as to why they were being investigated, knocked on his door, took it, and said, no, any AK-12 that's in this country is proof enough that a importation ban and a sanction was violated. Just it being here is evidence enough that something was violated. And apparently they told him that they are going to do their damnedest to make sure they know about every single one that's in the country. Troll or not. Yeah, I don't know if that really happened or not. I think people are looking into it. But Mr. AK Quality Enforcement will hopefully give us some details as to the legitimacy of that. And apparently there were some for sale on Gunbroker that were taken down. He's trying to figure out why the ads were taken down. I don't know. That's all I know about it right now. But if all that's true, then what's going to happen? SOTs, what is considered proof of demonstration? I'm not exactly sure what they would consider proof of demonstration. Like, we don't have any law letter machine guns. We never had to do anything like that. I've known gun dealers that have owned factory machine guns that they've gotten through law letters. I'm sure a demo can be anything. It can be, hey, bring it by the station. I need to show all these guys how a G36 works because we might end up getting a couple to keep here to throw in a couple squad cars. I'm sure it could be something as simple as that. Hey, bring it by the shop so the guys can get familiar with how a G36 or how a full auto M4 works. And then take it back to your FFL and put it in the safe, which is where it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's like, once the kit's here, it's here. Like, it's such a weird thing. Like, how does that work? I mean, there's FFLs out there that have post-sample machine guns built on AK-12 kits that's on the books. What happens to that gun if If the ATF says, all right, well, here's one that we know exists at this FFL, let's stop on by and pay a visit. Like, what happens to that? I have no idea. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's just like there's so, in my opinion, there's so much. I don't know. I don't even want to say too much. It's just it's a weird thing. And I just for the record, since it's on camera, I'm a big dummy. I don't really know anything about AK-12s. As far as I know, they're all made pre 2014, and that's when they all came in. I'm sure that's how every single one of them got here before 2014. That's what I heard. Yeah, what is an AK-12? Yes, I have 12 AKs. Absolutely, I do. Yeah, anyway, so that's what's going on with that, but I agree, we probably shouldn't go down that rabbit hole too much. Yeah, this is definitely true, how whatever happens to Larry and this whole thing is going to have a big impact. All clearly, the whole law letter thing, I don't see anyone writing law letters anymore. If I was a guy, if I was a chief of police or whatever, and I was in that position to write law letters, there's no way. I don't care how well I like someone. I don't care how much I needed a demo factory Colt M4 to be at a local FFL so I could demo it sometimes. I don't care how bad I needed it. No one's gonna write a law letter anymore. That ship has sailed. What that does mean though is, which a byproduct of this, if if an FFL decides to close his doors one day, and he's got a couple of law letter machine guns, right? If when you decide to relinquish your FFL and your SOT, that you have like a certain amount of time to either transfer these regulated guns, these post sample guns, or chop them up into a parts kit based on like how the ATF wants you to cut up certain guns. There's every gun they have like a blueprint, cut it here, cut it there, cut it there. Okay, bam, it's been destroyed. That's a parts kit now. You have a certain amount of time to do that to all of these post sample machine guns. Well, that then becomes a no letter machine gun. And when an FFL is closing their doors, those guns are worth a ton of money. So now you're just going to have an even smaller pool of no letter machine guns as these FFLs come and go. And these no letter machine guns are transferred and sold to other FFLs. Those are just going to become so valuable amongst FFLs that can own them because they are now no letters. That's what's going to happen. Clay, think about this. They are seizing Zenitco stuff. That's just parts. They would be absolutely doing the same with these. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Nonviolent firearm charges. Unfortunately, that's all they have to pin on you. So you're getting it. Yeah. Man, it's going to be so surreal when he finally does get sentenced. They said anywhere between 4 to 20 years, and he did plead guilty to some things. So something's going to happen. That's going to be so bizarre when he gets sentenced, and and freaking Larry Vickers, dude, of all people, is going to go to jail for some stupid stuff like this. You know, one thing that is interesting, I was talking to Tony about this. Yeah, pled guilty, probably going to get 2 years. Like any amounts of years is going to be wild. But I was thinking about the whole AK-12 thing, and I'm like, man, I've just curious about people that have like filmed AK-12s and like put it on the internet. Like if the ATF is going to go over after Larry Vickers, I'm sure because he's a big personality. Like, what's going to happen to people that have like AK-12 content on YouTube? I don't even want to say it out loud, but I was kind of stressed about that. I'm like, what's going to happen to it? Like, delete it. I was curious about that. I know Brandon bought one of the no letters from Larry. It was a 545 RPK, which is perfectly legal for an FFL to do that, to buy a no letter machine gun if another FFL is closing their books. That's totally above board, totally fine. But I think what was possibly going to happen is some people that when Larry was moving all those things along because he had to close his FFL, certain people were buying them. I think they were worried that some of those guns were going to get confiscated because they weren't, I don't know, I guess the law letter wasn't legally supposed to happen on that particular gun, but apparently the one Brandon bought was totally fine, so he's keeping it. So that's good. I mean, I hope for the best. I hope nothing happens to anyone that's ever filmed one of those guns. Yeah, both of them do quite a bit. Yes, that's why I was kind of worried about it. I don't even want to say some of the stuff out loud to hit any kind of an algorithm, but that's kind of why I was worried about it. For that reason, you just get a target on your back when you do that stuff, in the political world. Is FPS Russia Kyle going back to jail? No. Damn, wasn't that a good channel? We should talk about something happy. Do you guys remember at one time when FPS here's a contrast for you, when FPS Russia, Nut and Fancy, and Hickok 45 owned the gun tube of YouTube. They owned gun content. At that time, there were a handful of channels. Demo Ranch, I think, might have been just starting out, but at one time it was FPS Russia, Hickok 45, and Nut and Fancy with his hour-long videos. That was gun content. Yep, I remember. And that was back when YouTube didn't give gun channels the shitty monetization. So I'm sure FPS Russia back then was just rolling in ad revenue. That was back before, I think they called it the adpocalypse. It was the ad revenue was just through the roof for YouTube videos back then. And they didn't care what kind of content you made. Now they'll monetize gun content, but you get the bottom of the barrel bullshit ads. So if you have these two videos that get 100,000 views, this video can be made about unboxing a toy, and this video is about gun stuff. They get the same amount of views, same amount of comments, everything. This one will make 10 times as much money as the gun content because they give the gun content the ads that nobody cares about. Even now, young people watch Hickok 45. There was a time where I watched nothing but Hickok 45 back in the day. I just thought, I don't know, me and my buddy, we would sit there and just watch him in his backyard just plinking. And we'd sit there at work eating lunch, be like, God, man, he's such a good shot. I just remember when I first found Hickok 45, it might have been 2014, 2015. And I think it was one of his Halloween videos where he was carving a pumpkin with a Glock or something, and found his page. And every other video, it's just this cool gun. And he's got this badass backyard with all these targets and this cool bench with all this leather on it. And he's just shooting. And I was like, oh my God, it would be heaven to walk out on my back porch. And that's what I get to do all day. I was like 8 up with the Hickok 45 channel back then. And then we found CarnyCon and FPS Russia. I think CarnyCon, if I remember right, was a little bit after, just a little bit after FPS Russia. CarnyCon was the greatest of all time as far as content goes, but watching FPS Russia almost getting like cut in half by that truck door when he was shooting tannerite inside of that truck that was like rolling downhill, and that door almost cut him in half. That was awesome. I remember when that video came out. That was pretty cool. And the full auto AA12 video was awesome. He had, there was this video where he was running like an M16A4 full auto with a can on it, like through the desert, just shooting stuff. I just thought, never in my life will I ever get to do anything that cool or shoot anything like that. It was just like the coolest stuff. Like nobody was making, no, Dugan Ash, he's not dead. Not dead. He's got a YouTube channel. I don't know what it's called. It has nothing to do with CarnyCon, but he still pops up from time to time. He would like pop up with these live streams, or he would talk about like conspiracy theories. And he had a very brief stint on like the In Range channel where like he showed up on a couple of Carl's videos. Then he got really sick, and like his meds, I think at one time he like thought he was gonna die, and he was on all these meds and his head wasn't right. But now he seems to be pretty normal again. And very rarely you'll see a video pop up on that really small channel that he has, and he seems fine. He's just not doing anything remotely close to like gun content. He's just kind of doing his thing. He lives like a very reclusive life from what I can tell. So I hear this name a lot, Coke Man. Tony, I know, used to watch all those videos back in the day. I never heard of him back then. I guess when he was making a lot of content, but I know he's one of the originals. But Tony talks about him all the time. He was like, man, that was the channel. That was it back then. Sam Hyde should start a gun tube. Do you remember that video he made where he's got the AK and he's doing like I don't even want to say the name of the video out loud, but it's funny because he's using like a Rifle Dynamics AK in that video. But yeah, Sam Hyde's hilarious. I watched the whole saga with him and the YouTube boxing, and another channel that I like a lot on YouTube is like the Brandon Buckingham show, and he was training with Sam Hyde for the whole YouTube boxing thing. That stuff's pretty, as the kids say, cringy, but some of it's kind of fun to watch, especially when Sam Hyde is involved. It's like must-watch YouTube content. Yeah, Coke Man had a crank. Nothing fancy, regardless how you feel about him, was the OG. I can't sit through his videos these days, but back then, that was the 30-minute video you would like let play in the background while you were cleaning guns or whatever in your living room. Nothing fancy stuff. That was good for that. Yeah, IV88. I think IV88 got really big at the end of all that. Eventually, right before FPS Russia's channel was totally done, did you know that IV88 was filming and producing the FPS Russia videos? They're at the very ass end of the channel. Those really big high production videos they were doing, IV88 was producing those. I didn't know that until years after that channel was done. Matt V 2099. Man, that name sounds so familiar. I'm assuming that's a YouTube handle. That sounds so familiar. Buckingham was wild. Yeah, that's a crazy channel. Yes. Interesting content, to say the least. Michiko is a gangster. Yes, indeed. Hey, real quick. By the way, I gotta pitch it again. I gotta do it. For those of you guys that don't know, probably tired of me talking about it, but it's just how it's got to be. Kalash Bash tickets are going to be on sale very soon. And I talk about it all the time because every year, at least the last 2 years, match sells out in a couple days. And a bunch of you people that I know very well that should have known better, start blowing up my DMs going, man, sell me a match ticket because I wasn't ready and they sold out. And it breaks my heart because some of you guys are my friends and I can't just like make a match ticket that doesn't exist to sell you, or a general admission ticket, or a camp pass. We've had the campsite sell out, and the campsite doesn't sell out fast. It usually, takes a month or two. But when it does, there's always people that are like, man, I just never had a chance to buy a camp pass. Don't be a dickhead, man. Sell me one. And I feel like a dickhead because I can't sell you one. But so that's why I'm always preaching. Like, if you want to go, just get the ticket early. Don't be that guy, because I always have to wade through a sea of those people that just don't get one. And they tug at my heartstrings for a month trying to get one of these tickets when they just don't exist. So pre-reg, links down below. Pre-reg tickets are going to go on sale November 1st. It's on a Wednesday. Just call in sick, or just don't. Quit your job. Stay home. Divorce your wife. Divorce your husband. Whatever. Just free up that day. Buy a ticket. It's happening very soon. And man, got news yesterday that a certain individual will be there. Some of you OGs that have been to some of the older Kalash Bashes, it's going to hit you right here. It's going to feel like the band's getting back together when this certain individual shows up on site. I was so excited when Tony told me that this person was coming. I was like, shut up. He's like, no. I was like, for real. He was like, yeah. And I can't believe it. It's going to be so cool. No, it's not KUSA. No, KUSA, as much as I love Matt Bugsy, works there, as much as I love, the good times we had back in the day, KUSA is in such a weird place, and 6 months from now is probably going to be in an even worse, weirder place. They are in no position to be going to any events or making any promises to anyone right now, so that ain't happening. Not Jim Fuller, not Rob Ski. I'm not sure Rob Ski would ever come to Kalash Bash, and that's unfortunate. But no, he's never come out, and I assume he probably never will come out. Stallone, that's exactly who it is. Sly's coming out. That's exactly who it is. Now, this is like a feel-good thing. Like when you see the announcement, some of you people are going to be like, hell yeah. Some people won't even care, but like if you were there back in those days, it's going to be really special when he identifies as he, him, when he comes out. It's going to be really cool. Keanu Reeves, I wish. Let me win that Mega Millions. I'll buy KUSA. Yeah. That'd probably be enough to do it. Man, long story. Well, Krebs is coming. Krebs was out there last year. He'll be out there again. Good point, Tony. We have over 1,000 people pre-registered. So what does that mean? To put that into perspective, last year we had a little over 1,000 people on site. So if 1,000 people are already pre-registered, that basically means like the day tickets go live, there's that many people that have early access to tickets. Like the same amount of people that were at Kalash Bash last year are going to have access to early tickets. So like I said, quit your job. It's not important. Get a divorce. Like, let some person that you barely know watch your kid for a day. Make yourself available. November 1st on Wednesday. Buy that ticket. Dude, that would be a dream come true to have Keanu Reeves come out. That'd be pretty dope. I know we know a couple of guys that shoot for Taron. That does not mean we know Taron or we have any way to like pass a message to Taron who could maybe say, hey, there's this AK thing going on. There's just like no way. But I don't know. I wonder how close Zach Smith is to Taron. I know he shoots for Taron. He goes out there all the time, and I'd be like, yo, could you like maybe see if John Wick wanted to come out? Can you bully a company to make a Grendel AK? You know, there's Evocatus makes a Galil in 6.5 Creedmoor. I think they call it the Galil Moor. And I think they even have a video of them getting 1,000-yard shot with it, which is pretty cool. It's our time check. Looks like we got about 40 minutes left. Okay. Yep. This is probably the thing I'm most excited about, like making the announcement on what Tony and I are working on for the after party at the campsite that everyone's going to be invited to. Like our campsite basically is split into two big areas. It's like split right down the middle. On one side, you have what I can only explain is like a Burning Man-esque tent city that is only available to campers that buy camping tickets. That's all them. And they have their own bathrooms and showers and everything else. And then on this side, you have what is available to everyone Saturday night. Just this massive party area, like huge bonfire, music. The music's going to be special, extremely special. I don't even want to give it away right now, but we have a very special announcement for the music. But there's going to be music, food trucks, drinks, a massive tent with night vision airsoft battles going on that is free that you can just walk up and shoot. Cornhole games, the works, so much. It's just this massive party area that basically the whole event like pours into and parties for a while, hangs out for the live music, does the whole thing. And then at a certain point, non-campers leave, and then it just becomes like this exclusive campers only thing. It is the coolest thing. I just end up walking through the tents all night. I just end up winding up at some random person's tent and they're cooking. We'll end up drinking with them and hanging out. Like that's like my favorite thing to do at Kalash Bash Saturday night when the party winds down, just go like walking through the tent city and seeing these crazy campsites these people come up with. And we even give prizes away to the best campsite. We've given away like thousands of dollars of thermal optics to the best campsite. Makes sense. You're camping, thermal, like build your tent at night. That is like my favorite thing because I'm like a diehard Renfest guy. I like camping at the big Ren fairs, which is also just a big tent city. Kalash Bash gives me that same feeling of just like, doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. Everyone is walking through everyone's campsites, just partying all night, mingling, making friends, drinking each other's booze, eating each other's food. Just so cool. It's hard to get that experience at a lot of events, that camping thing of just like this huge tent city where everyone's hanging out together. Yeah, there'll be a link. You'll see it when they go live. It's just kalashbashtx.com. Same link, the same link down below that you're pre-regging with. That link eventually will just turn into the ticket link. So you'll never not know where to find the link. Anywhere we've ever posted the link for pre-register, when the tickets go live, that same link just turns into the ticket link. It's very easy. Yo, Texas Renfest is legit. Yeah, we actually live very close to where they do Texas Renfest. In fact, the gun range I film at a lot is right across the street from Texas Renfest. It's even called the Renaissance Shooting Club. So, yeah, we really wanted to go this year. We had a whole weekend planned. I think we were going to do like Halloween weekend. We're trying to get like at least 10 people to go out there, but everyone's older, everyone's got kids now. It's like so hard to get a group together like we used to and just go camp out there and party all night. But man, we used to do that every year, a couple times a year. Oh, by the way, a few days after tickets go live, we I don't know if you remember this, but we did a meltdown a little while ago. I wish I could pick it up and show it to you, but I'm not allowed to touch guns on a YouTube live stream. But we did a meltdown not too long ago with that PSA spiker. If you watch the video, it doesn't go well, and then eventually it just sort of starts going well because we like humped it into submission and beat it with a hammer and wrapped it with wire and somehow limped this thing along to like 25, 26, however many rounds, 2,700 rounds. Well, we fixed it. Not too long ago, we fixed it. We got it like fully operational again, and we filmed part 2 a couple weekends ago, and that video will go live the week tickets go for sale. So like the tickets go on sale on Wednesday. That's Sunday. The meltdown part 2 is coming out, and I'm like, I've watched the video probably 10 times because it's so crazy what happens, and I cannot freaking wait for that video to go live. These meltdowns are like the funnest thing ever to film. It's so cool. And of course, we had Cody out there again, all the trigger, just burning himself and hurting himself constantly, but getting through the meltdown. It's just so good. Yeah. Like on Instagram Live, I could show you my whole gun collection, but on YouTube Live, you are not allowed to handle a gun at all while going live. That's just, you can make gun videos, but you can't touch them while you're live. It's like a big no-no. Yeah. One night at K-Bash and 9 months later, Mini Clay. You know, it's funny you joke about that because we know someone. I think we know more than one person, but we definitely know someone that has gotten lucky a couple times at the Kalash Bash campsite. I'm not gonna say their name. But man, is it a funny story to tell. If we're ever not on live, ask me about it. I will absolutely tell you who it was. It's hilarious. Two, yeah. No, yeah, two. Man, this person is killing it. Kalash Bash is the Burning Man of the gun world. That's honestly kind of how I explain it to people. Kind of is. It's like this huge communal thing that happens over like a 3-day period. Like from Friday to Sunday, you don't have to leave. You could sleep there Friday night. You could sleep there Saturday night. You don't have to leave for 3 days. There's food on site, bathroom, showers. Like you literally, there's no reason to leave. There's so much to do, day and night. It just we've crammed so much stuff in this event to do because I've been to so many events that suck. I just went to a couple of them that were terrible. They were so boring. You see everything in like an hour, and you're like, God, I paid a ticket, and that's it. This was a 2-day event. I saw everything in an hour. Rachel and I won't say the event, but we just went to an event a few weeks ago. This was a 2-day event. Like they had 1-day and 2-day tickets, and the tickets weren't exactly cheap. And we went to this thing, and even Tony went. We walked around, and I was just like, God, man, I wish someone else would do a Kalash Bash so I could go and have a good time, because I go to so many other events, and it's just like it's not the same. There's nothing there. You go to these gun events where they have like all these demos, they have all these vendors, and there's like no rhyme or reason to it. It's like they'll just book as many vendors that will say yes, and they cram them all in a gun range, and none of them have anything to do with one another. It'll be like lever action, a suppressor, a guy that makes Kydex holsters, a dude that sells gun safes, a lady that does real estate, a guy that does bow and arrows. It's just like, it's always like so, it's just like splatter a bunch of vendors on a gun range and go do the thing. There was like no fine tuning, no like selecting of a certain type of vendor where this event has a theme and you go for a certain kind of thing and you get that thing. You get a lot of that thing. So we went to this thing and we were done. I'd say in an hour and a half, we saw everything. We saw 30 vendors, and I might have wanted to walk up to 2 of them that I thought were interesting. And some of the stuff that was there, I'm just like, I paid a lot of money to come out here. This stuff, and the food trucks sucked. There were like 2 food trucks, and the food choices were terrible. And the places to sit were not well thought out. The vendors that they had off of firing lines. I don't want to poop on it too much, but it put things into perspective. I'm like, that's what we try to avoid. And Rachel and I and Tony, I go to a lot of events. I go to every AK event I can go to, and they're all good. I have not been to a bad AK event. All of them, the Red Octobers, the Kalash, what's the other one? The PSA one that they did. What was that called? Masters. They were all fun and good and like laser focused on what kind of event is this? Let's only book vendors that fit that theme. And they killed it. Some of these events, I don't think they know what the theme is. They just want to cram a bunch of vendors on a firing range, and that's just what it is. And it doesn't feel the same. It's not the same at all. So we desperately try to avoid that. Yeah, Lethal Weapons. That was this year. Not an AK event. Something quite different, actually. How is Zastava and Kalashnikov USA? Zastava, I love Zastava AKs. I don't think KUSA makes a bad gun. We had one for 5,000 rounds, one of their early 103s, and we put it all the way through 5,000 rounds, and that thing did great. Gas really nice. The trigger was good. Furniture held up well. It was a fixed stop. I think I won Jim's match with it one month. It was a good gun. And Zastavas, I love Zastavas. I'm having a love affair with freaking Yugo pattern AKs. Oh, Tony wants to join. Let me get Tony in real quick. Talk amongst yourselves. I can get T in here real quick. Here we go. Nope, I'm good. All right, Tony, check your Kalash Bash email. You'll have it. Jimmy John's or Jersey Mike's? Easy decision. Jersey Mike's all day, every day. Mike's way. That rhymed. Kind of proud of that. I love Jersey Mike's. I get the super sub Mike's way. Quiznos is good though when you can find one. Back in its heyday, Quiznos was better than everything. Big, crispy, hot sandwiches. Quiznos was the best. It was. Yeah, option C, Quiznos, for real. But yes, I love Jersey Mike's. Hey, we've got, what's good? We've gone, an hour and a half? We haven't said Waffle Stop once. That's a first. Dude, I know where one Quiznos is in Houston, inside the Beltway. There's one operational Quiznos. I don't know of any other one that exists. But I pass it all the time, and every now and again, I'm like, man, one of these days, I'm going to go in that thing, and I'm going to get, like, a ranch barbecue chicken sandwich toasted until it's black. Like back in the old days, they run it through that massive freaking oven. Cannot wait. Firehouse is good. I do enjoy Firehouse. Thoughts on the JMac RRD 360? I really like the 360 idea because it doesn't have to be timed. On AKs with certain brakes, it's a pain in the ass to time them because if it's like a standard AK with a front sight post, you're going to buy like a face mount that crushes into the muzzle face. That's how it actually tightens. Well, you have to use those tiny little shims. You got to use a suppressor alignment rod, and it's a lot of tightening and untightening and changing of shims. It's a son of a bitch. But with the 360 brake, tighten it until it's done, and you're done. Mounting it's super easy. You don't quite get the same braking and compensation that you would from like a dedicated 2, 3 to 4 chamber brake that's timed. That's going to give you a little bit better compensation, but much more of a pain in the ass to mount. I just mounted one on one of my 16-inch AKs. It went on and off maybe 10 times before I finally got that shim combination perfect for it to fall out just tight enough and centered. I hate that process, but that's why 360 brakes are so nice, and flash hiders, same thing. All right, everybody. Here's my main man, Brennan.
Here.
And nothing's changed. Still on his potato quality Wi-Fi.
Is it really fucked up still?
Yes.
Damn, dude. I could try to hop on my laptop. Like when I used to use my laptop, I don't think I had that issue.
It looks like buffering porn in the late 90s.
Like Channel 99?
Yes.
No. Well, damn, dude. I think maybe I need to switch to fiber. I think that's the issue.
Do what, babe? Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
I promise I pay a premium for my internet, but apparently it looks like shit.
Tony never gave up on dial-up.
Well, should I try my other, like my laptop, and see if that's better? Is it really that shitty?
Right now, it's not bad.
Okay.
It's pixely, but your sound's coming through okay.
Okay. Well, sorry, everybody. Yeah. I just wanted to hop in and say hey.
If you were to show us your wiener, you could probably get away with it, and YouTube wouldn't track it.
Very nice. everyone's fucking roasting me about the freaking dial-up internet.
Tony in Minecraft is exactly what it looks like.
All right, well, I'll get this handled by next time. That is hilarious. Yeah, I did want to make a quick comment on the whole Vickers thing. Not necessarily about all the legal stuff there, but I think it's just kind of interesting. I had commented about it, but I was kind of curious. I guess at some point we may be able to get access to some of the court documents. I'd be curious to know what really triggered the investigation. If this is something that they have been watching for years, waiting for the right opportunity to kind of, take action, or if there was just like some sloppy paperwork, or, something just happened and then that was like someone just got fucking lazy, or I don't know. Just kind of curious.
Well, so word on the street, it was like, what, 200 law letter machine guns? Some huge number, right? I think it was a big enough number where someone would go, that's a large amount of demo law letter machine guns. Might need to see if some demos have been happening, or maybe that triggered them to check into who was writing them. I don't know. And maybe it raised some red flag, and then they realized, hey, not only is it a red flag, but it's freaking Larry Vickers. Like, this would be a big win.
Yeah. I suppose also if you've got this like little town PD that's submitting law letters every month, and they're not allocating, firearms into their inventory for their force, they're just constantly requesting demos and demos and demos. That could also probably attract some attention.
Robert S. says 240 machine guns.
Which really isn't a lot. I mean, there's a lot of SOTs out there with a lot more than that.
Oh, yeah. Think about that Dragon Man guy. How many do you think he has?
shitload. I think we'll have at Kalash Bash easily over 100 machine guns available to rent.
John with Gun NATO, he just blew way past 100 machine guns weeks ago.
Yeah. Real bummer though. There's going to be probably a lot of implications with how SOTs do business. There's probably going to be a lot. One of the theories I've shared with you, Clay, is that there may come a point where they just simply stop approving new applications for FFLs, and if you have one, it'll just be one of those things where it's like if you're looking to apply for a new FFL, you'll have to wait until someone retires theirs, and you either acquire it directly from them or maybe a lottery or something like that. And that's one of my if things continue going the way they're going, that's my prediction, is that folks that have an FFL SOT, not only will it be costly to keep, but it'll be like kind of gold to have.
Yep. Yeah, we talk about that all the time. I could totally see. I mean, that's such an easy thing for them to go after. Very easy to regulate stuff that's heavily regulated. FFL holders. There can be a lottery. We've talked about this where they could say, all right, how many are on the books right now? How many FFLs are out there? To keep it a round number, let's say there's 10,000. They might say, okay, as of right now, that's it. There's 10,000 FFLs that can ever be had. When someone relinquishes one and takes it off, and now there's 9,900 and there's one available. Okay, now there's a lottery and someone can apply to get that one FFL that's available now. Yeah. That would be so easy for them to do. And that would be that. It's no different than transferable machine guns. Once that happened where it's illegal from this day forward, everything after that's grandfathered in.
Right.
So all that stuff just every year increases in value, is more coveted, more collectible, more valuable. That could be FFLs one day.
Yeah, someone's commenting about, say I heard Brendan Herrera bought one of Larry Vickers machine guns. Mm-hmm. There were a bunch of no-letter machine guns on Gunbroker. This was maybe about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than that. One of them I was bidding on, and Brandon outbid me, but it was an RPK 74 with a fixed stock. I want to say it might have had a milled receiver. I don't remember, but we already have a full auto RPK 74, but I can't remember how much that one went for. But Brandon outbid me on it, and I believe he did a video with it, so I know he was able to take delivery of it. But yeah, really sweet gun. But yeah, it was a bunch of no letter guns. They were sold through I can't remember that FFL. They're down in Richmond on the southwest side of town. They deal in a ton of guns like that, though. But
yeah, someone mentioned earlier that they're pretty sure that, I guess, that was looked into and approved, that he's going to be able to keep that gun. Everything's okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect there was anything with an issue there. I believe what happened was there was his SOT had lapsed, and there were still a bunch of guns that hadn't transferred out. I read that there was a little bit of an issue with that.
So Mike says, if elected president, I will abolish the ATF and make splitter guards on Challengers and Chargers illegal. I would vote for you. Those little yellow splitter guards are so dumb.
So I'm kind of curious. I watched a little bit of the live stream earlier, and I think sometimes people ask like product questions, or they're making a purchase decision and they need some guidance. Seeing as I've got Kyber Customs here, and I happen to be a little immersed into that space, is there anyone who has a question about a purchase that they're looking to make, or maybe need a recommendation on a particular product? Maybe Clay and I can offer some insight.
Anyone looking to buy an AK-12 kit anytime soon?
Yeah. Single saw cut. Seen lots of those around.
Yes, antimatter Larry Vickers did plead guilty. He's going to get sentenced. He is going to have some years. Supposedly. OG barrel.
Should I get another Wasser or a Z-Pap? What do you think, Clay? What would you vote for?
If they're about the same money, I don't know. That's a full length and a pistol. If we're talking M70, I would definitely get the M70. They're just going to be so clean compared to that Wasser. But if you get a nice straight Wasser, it's good AKM to have. It's going to be so easy to live with. Parts interchangeability. But you get
I'm a
those
Wasser guy, man.
You get those mag dimples with the Zastava, though.
I'm a Wasser guy. Let me tell you this. I just want you to imagine this playing out, okay? I want you to imagine Century making an announcement tomorrow that Romanian imports are coming to an end in the next few months, and then that's it. Like, we have it so good with having Wassers here, and when or if that ever dries up, you'll look back at the Wasser and be like, that's pretty much the closest thing to a com block AKM rifle that you can get. Factory receiver, even though I don't have the dimples, it's a factory receiver, factory barrel, AKM spec all the way through, factory tooling. To me, Wasser is the no-brainer, but that's,
Yeah, all that needs to happen is they need to go away, and then everyone will instantly appreciate them. That's all that needs to happen. Adam Mendoza wanted to know, where'd you get that 74 rug behind you?
That thing?
Yeah, war rug.
If you know of a company called Echo 93, the guy that owns that company, Joe, does some consulting work overseas, and maybe a year or two ago, he brought several of these rugs back, and I was able to snag one. Got really, really lucky. I don't know of a consistent place that you can find those, to be perfectly honest with you. It was just kind of a one-time deal, but yeah, it's pretty sick, huh? Look at that shit.
I'm sure a lot of vets probably brought some of those home from the Middle East. I'm not really sure how you would get one now. There's people, there's guys in the Khyber Pass that are like using WhatsApp to communicate with people and send stuff over here all the time. I'm sure if you were resilient, you could find one.
I'm trying to catch up on some of these questions. I want to be able to. Let's see here.
Yeah, so Robert says, true AK Wasser. That's the only reason I haven't got a Z-Pap yet. Furniture.
I'm telling you, like, the Wassers will be, and there's just such an abundance of them, but it'll be the thing when they dry up, it will be, everyone will say, I wish I would have bought like 20 Wassers.
Yep. It's always, in either option, honestly, it's always smart to invest in an import while they're available. American AKs are cool. They're always going to be there. But while imports are available, you're never, ever going to lose money. Depending on, unless you completely overpay and someone totally bends you over a barrel. But if you get them for retail, you'll never lose money on an import.
Let's see here. Romanian PKM. That's, yeah. That's a tip gun right there.
Can a Galil Ace Gen 2 be modded for the 35 round mags easily? If it takes the AR-15 mags, it can be done. I've had it done on one of mine. I don't know exactly what Daniel did to make it happen. He said it was very easy, but it can definitely be done. I'm not sure if you should attempt that on your own though. And plus, you can buy Gen 2s that take the Rock and Lock mags. They exist. I would do that instead of trying to modify one, honestly. Yeah,
yes,
everyone seems to agree. Wasser is definitely the choice.
Y'all have to just trust me on this. The Z-Paps, they're cool. The Wasser is legit. you take a wasser and throw some really good laminate, like you can just find some like original Russian laminate furniture, throw it on the wasser. You have like the closest thing to a Russian AKM that you can get as far as an appearance, but it's built in a factory that actually builds military rifles, not a private firm that has similar tooling, not a factory that's making guns only for the commercial market. Like these are legit built in a factory that manufactures for military contracts with like licensed tooling. You know, I mean, that's the rifle. So if it had the dimples on the receiver, it would be like, I don't even think people would even ask. It would even be a question, but I can overlook that.
You have to admit, though, a clean M70 with some surplus wood, especially if you get trench art, is pretty freaking cool.
I mean, I've got several Yugo guns. They're just, you know, the ones I have are the older like OPAPs, you know, the ones with the grenade sight on the gas block.
You know, that's definitely peaked for me. The old AB2s.
Yeah.
Those are super
It's
cool.
unfortunate we can't show guns, you know, here on YouTube, you know, because I think that's an important thing to make a note of.
Do you recommend Meridian Defense?
Yeah, I think there's a place for builders who are using good quality parts, and they are, you know, building the guns with, you know, not necessarily doing giant production runs in mind. They're really, you know, focused on building one gun at a time, and attention to detail. Meridian Defense kind of falls into that category for sure.
Oh, this is a good point. Americana Pipe Dream had war rugs. There are all these companies that deal in surplus. Companies like that will acquire a huge batch of that stuff and they'll blow it out. And that's honestly, their Instagram's just a very good follow. Even if you don't want to buy their stuff, their content is so good. How they market the brand. But they get cool stuff like that all the time. They just got a bunch of German rain pattern. I don't know what you call them. It's just like a day pack. It's got suspenders with it and everything. It's so cool. They just get the coolest stuff. You opened my eyes with your 5.56 AK videos. Definitely going to pick one up after my next paycheck. Man, unless money just grows on trees, or you were smart and stacked up 7.62 and 5.45, it's just the cheapest way to enjoy an AK right now.
So what would you say? I'm not talking about what you could pick up the phone and order or go online and order today, but for a 5.56 AK, if you had to save up for a grail gun, and I don't, maybe grail gun's not the right word here, but let's say that you're in this for the long game and you want to have like something really, really legit 5.56 AK, what are you saving up for? The Brills are cool.
The Brills are cool. Honestly, I think there's a couple that come to mind. So, you know, there's SAM 7 SFs. Well, the SAM, they're a version that I guess we would call, like, for lack of a better term, a SAM 5 SF. A SAM 5 with the tubular folding stock. That gun does exist. It's just not imported. But that exists. That would be a super cool grail one to have, because you'd be like the only dude in the country that had one that wasn't modified to take that stock. That's cool. There is Scott has one of these kits that he had put together. It's a 5.56. It's a variant of the M90. I got to look up the name on it. There's a Serbian M90 variant in 5.56.
You're talking about the little shorty? Scott's got one.
Yes, called that.
I forgot what.
I'll tell you.
There was a parts kit on Gunbroker 2 years ago. I can't remember which one it is. Pretty sweet gun though. Scott at Ars Regulate has one.
I'm never gonna find a picture of it. They're just so obscure. God, I can't think of the name. It's got a cool combo block. It's got this super interesting handguard, super interesting stock. It's just so cool. I can't think of the name. Oh, here we go, right here. M21.
Yep, there you go.
I'll show you a picture of it.
Zeke, do not sell your Sega. Never sell your Segas. Y'all should get to a point where you're no longer buying guns that you're on the fence about keeping.
This.
You buy, you keep, and then you keep buying. There it is.
M21. It's got a little combo block. It's got a little flash hider. Still has the bulged trunnion receiver. It's got this super unique, interesting handguard. The dust cover is unique. The iron sights moved back halfway down the dust cover. The pistol grip is unique. The stock is unique. It's just a cool, interesting 5.56 AK that nobody knows about. That would be super cool to have. But I think if I had to choose between that, I mean, this is cool. But I guess still at the end of the day, I think the super, super rare stuff like a South African R5 or an R4, that's still super dope. The Valmets are super freaking cool.
You got to have an OG Galil. I think that's important. If you're going to get into 5.56 AKs, definitely have an SAR and a ARM with a bipod. OG Galil. Those for sure. You will regret not having jumped on those when they were available. So lots of good questions in here. Fit
and Fire came to hang out, and we did that 5.56 video, the AK video, and he actually had Ashley Angel of Verdun's Valmet, this exact variant, black handguard.
Yeah.
The peep sight in the rear and the woodstock. Dude, the way it smelled was nice. The finish on it had like this sparkle to it. I remember when I shot it and it heated up, it smelled like Pop-Tarts. It just had this interesting smell. Like everything about it, the bolt, the safety, the trigger was cool. I just thought, I can't believe the age of this gun, how refined and smooth and beautifully built it is for the age. And it was just like, they kind of liked the Galil and they just sort of, actually, this predates the Galil. I always get these mixed up, but it's just, man, I don't know, dude. Just the way the receiver has this upswept curve that you later see in the Galils, and even this one's a stamped receiver variant, but dude, it's just so freaking badass how cool and different this is.
They look really well balanced. I love the little tube stocks on this.
Yeah.
I'd love to pick up, an M76 just like that with a folding tube stock. I think I want to say Pappas has one. And we need to convince him to bring it to Kalash Bash so I can steal it.
Yeah.
I don't hate Yugos. Someone's 2018. I don't hate Yugos. I have M70 AB guns, M72 guns that were built on really nice parts kits, and they're just different to me. The bluing, I think there's like the original Yugos have a charm to them that I think is a little bit lost on the commercial guns. So it's not that I hate them. When you compare them side by side, you think, gosh, they should have blued these guns. That was what kind of made these different and made these cool. The grenade sight gas block is such a cool component, That's all I'm saying. But if I had no guns and I was just getting into AKs, I certainly wouldn't, balk at a ZPAP gun. They're pretty solid guns.
Yeah, Brad says you can even buy the Galil Ace in 5.45, which is kind of cool. When those were first coming in, Jeremy Gresham's a good buddy of ours, Tony and I remember Jeremy calling and he said, well, I did it. They're going to bring in 5.45 Galils, Gen 1s. They're going to bring them in a few different barrel lengths, very low numbers. He said 545 of each variant. And back then 5.45 was everywhere, super available, super cheap. So this was very interesting. And he's like, best part is,
and we were leaning into 74 guns.
Yes.
We were leaning into 5.45 guns at that time.
And he was like, best part is it takes 74 mags. And I'm like, oh man, that's going to be so sick. And the Gen 1 Galil is a much better looking gun than the Gen 2. It just is. And he said the 8-inch, the 13, and the 16, they're all coming in. And that was one of the most exciting things that I felt like we were just like, we were kind of in it from the very beginning. We knew it was happening. And, you know, Jeremy even sent us one of each. He let us pick a serial number for it. And I remember on the phone, he's like, all right, well, you know, all the good serial numbers are gone. So which one are you thinking? And I'm like, I don't know. Has anyone picked like 0074? And he goes, you know, I can't believe no one's picked that yet. I'm like, bingo. So we got a matching set. And I shot the piss out of those guns. They shot so good. The little 8-inch was my favorite. Even over the 13.
That's a video that I'm surprised you haven't made yet, because it's a great, Jeremy's a great friend, but to have serial number 74 on the 8-inch, the 13, and the 16, to think that one time we were thinking maybe we should sell these things.
I do have videos on the guns, like individually, and we do kind of talk about the significance of the serial numbers, but we should get them all three together and just talk about how significant that is. It's just so unfortunate that I can't shoot them as much as I used to. There's just...
They don't eat the ammo we have. The 545 that we have is babushka.
But the Crink loves it. Num, 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 num.
Yeah.
So that's good.
The smoothbore. Yeah. The smoothbore Crink.
Yes.
Someone made a comment about the M72. You know, Zastava decides to bring back the M72. I don't know if that's even on their radar. But, you know, an M72 with the finned barrel, that would be pretty fucking sweet. I mean, dude, the Romanian, the AES 10Bs, those RPKs are absolute tits. I think if Zastava brought an M72 back, I'd be hard as a rock.
Man, and I don't know why they do. All the cool stuff they brought in. The M76, the M90, they bring in that 54R variant. What is that called? Someone hit me with the number. And they're bringing in a 50 cal bolt action freaking sniper rifle. Like, all these cool and rare things that they're bringing in. I'm surprised they haven't brought in an RPK M72 again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, everyone's saying the M91. That's M91, M76s are cool. Again, I think, honestly, if you have a little chump change and you're getting into AKs and you're thinking, I'm going to be in this game for a while, I think now's really kind of the last window of opportunity to really start hoarding some of the really cool parts kits. I wouldn't worry about, you know, I think receivers, we've got time, but I think the parts kits, like, pick up an original barrel if you can find it. If not, a matching numbers, Polish underfolder, a Mahdi, Egyptian Mahdi kit. That's a must. Our guns, I think you can still pick up some Izzy kits. There's Tula kits out there, AKM. I think the Crink kits are, you know, good luck. Those were like $750 through our guns back in the day, dude. Now they're like $4,000 kits. Zeke, favorite optic for astigmatism. Check out the Holosun 503G with ACSS reticle. That's my favorite optic. I see a blur if I'm looking at just a singular red dot, but the ACSS reticle is
he's right here.
Very pleasant to work with.
These fixed magnification prisms from Primary, I'm having a love affair with these. You can get 3x, 2x, 1.5x. This is a 5x calibrated for 308. This allowed me, I got my farthest shot with an AK ever with this tiny little thing at 800 yards easily. It's in the M76 video. This optic right here, dude. I have astigmatisms in both eyes. If I turn the illuminator on, it blooms a little bit, but because it's etched, I leave it off and just look at the black etched reticle all the time. It's crystal clear, even without my glasses on. And without my glasses, it's so much worse. I can't even shoot red dots with contacts because it blooms so much. But
so you're running a rear bias, like a rear bias RS regulate mount?
Yep. Yes, I run it all the way back. because it's like a scope, so it's got an eye box. You have to be
Yeah.
like a scope, so you got to run it really far back.
I imagine the 3X is probably really nice.
Oh yeah.
Lots of really good questions. So thank y'all for asking.
What's the eye relief on that little guy? I'll just tell you. Let me see. Right there. It's got to be that close to my eye. I mean, what is that? 3-4 inches away? That was kind of a problem when I was shooting it on the AK because, as you guys know, it's not the easiest thing in the world to put any type of a scope optic on your AK because just the combination of mounts and rails that you have to get it in the right spot. It can be a tricky combination sometimes.
Are you leaving illumination on when you're shooting out past like 100 yards?
No, I leave it off. Even with my glasses, even if I illuminate this, to me, it's not as clear with an astigmatism if I just leave the illumination off and just look at the blacked out etched reticle. That's the sharpest image in my eye that I can get.
What about when you're shooting within 100 yards, like 50 yards? Do you have illumination on?
Sometimes, but I've never really. To me, it wasn't a huge benefit to have it on. Like on a bright day, the black reticle was so sharp and clear, I just left it like that.
Roberta says, close as fuck. Got it.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone saying, Lethal Weapons 2024, ? Clay.
I don't know why you're asking me.
Hey, here's a good question. What was your first AK? You know, I
know the story. Yeah, I know the story about yours.
But I'll tell you this, actually, this is an even better story. The first time I actually shot an AK and fell in love with them was at a family reunion. I just moved here to Texas. And my girlfriend had just moved here too. And I have all this family out here that I've just been disconnected from growing up. And now I'm living in Texas. So I go to this family reunion and my brother-in-law like flies in and is like, he's got this black Dodge Charger. It's like covered in dust. He like flies into the place, pops the trunk open, and he had a Wasser and a little tin of ammo. And he's like, let's go shoot this thing. And we found a little rock quarry and we were back there shooting that shit, no ear pro. And I just thought to myself, this is such a bad guy gun. Like, this is such a cool ass rifle. And I fell in love. And my sister's not married to him anymore, but I'd love to like go back and just be like, yo, that shit stuck with me. Like, like check this shit out, right? Like that's stuck with me shooting that gun. And yeah. And then of course I got on AK Files, and that was pretty much where everything went downhill for me after I figured out where the forums were. But my first AK that I bought was a Polish underfolder, but the builder that built it really fucked me, and he bent the barrel, and I almost gave up because I was just so unhappy with that rifle. It was such a piece of shit, and I ended up buying an Arsenal SLR 107 when my daughter was born, and that saved it for me. Anyways.
You know, I never knew that because our stories are exactly the same. My, well, not the first, but the second AK totally showed me that, oh, there actually are nice AKs, because my first one was a Wasser 10. I never realized it, but I left the slant brake on it for years and years. I got it in high school. My dad got out of a pawn shop for $300 with the bayonet and the green canvas sling with the wood. And I thought it was the coolest shit. Later in life, I go to modify this thing, and I realized that my slant brake is so cross-threaded, it's on there permanently. I destroy my threads getting it off. I thought all AKs had super wacky canted sights. Mine was an old Wasser 1063. So, those were just cobbled together, my non-parts matching. And that gun got me into my AR-15 phase at a young life, because I got an AR and I was like, wow, this is so much nicer than my AK. And I went just head over heels. It wasn't until I bought an SLR 107 FR where I was like, damn, this is in a whole nother league as far as AKs.
Mhm.
The side folder, it was perfectly straight.
Yeah.
Paid $1,100 for it, brand new, and I was hooked. I put Zenico on it like a month after because I saw Larry Vickers, and that was a wrap, dude.
Dude, mine had a factory triangle stock on it. I think mine was like $1,000, but dude, that triangle stock, yeah. And you know what's funny is like shortly after that, maybe a year or two later, Rebecca was like, "I want to get an AK," and I was like, and was like really thinking about it, and I was like, I think a good rifle for you would be this SLR 104 FR, and she still has it.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that was a good snag.
Zeke says, favorite suppressor for an AK, don't say Dead Air Sandman or Wolverine. Although those are awesome options, I will tell you, as of late, because I've shot a couple of them recently and was blown away, dude, the new stuff by Huxworks is unbelievably cool. Super duper lightweight. It's 3D printed now. Now it's hub adaptable, so it doesn't matter how you want to mount it. And it's quiet, but it's the weight that got me. I hang a Sandman off of my AKs, and God, I get so tired of it. It's so heavy, and the Wolverine's even worse. But the Wolverine looks titties on an AK. But that
original TBS-1 is really the best suppressor.
Yeah, it'll sound like ass.
Suppressors are fucking sick.
Yeah,
and if you're coming to Kalash Bash, you might get a chance to fuck around with one,
and you might get a chance to win one. I would sure assume.
And someone mentioned the Putnik too. Resilient has always been a good supporter of Kalash Bash. You can count on them being out there with Reardon, and I'm sure the Putnik will be out there. He's got a couple new suppressors that they're releasing, so their booth should be pretty hot. What are some new products that are coming out? Doesn't necessarily have to be AK stuff, but what are some new products or things that are in development that y'all are excited about?
The Putnik is one for me. I can't
That's
wait.
Cool.
I can't wait to have one of those. It's heavy as shit. It's as heavy as it looks. But I mean, that looks like some Skunks Works Russian shit that they were developing on the side.
Yeah. So it's basically the full auto rated can.
I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Waffle Stomp t-shirts. Yeah, I knew that was coming eventually.
I've seen that comment a couple times, and maybe we should. We'll figure that out.
The Chitin Defense Bison kits. Have those never... did they never become a thing yet? I know they've been talked about forever. Is J-Mac making a railed dust cover? Yes, I believe they are.
That's what word on the street is. J-Mac, like, they probably have 100 new things in development right now, and I'd be shocked if that wasn't one of them.
Dude, he flexed on me a couple days ago. I don't think he meant to, but the way he answered the text message, I was like, cool flex, bro. Like, I sent him a quick text message. I was like, yo, we did another meltdown on that PSA AK. And he texted me back. He's like, cool. I can't wait to hear all about it when I get back from Greece. I was like, all right, I guess I'll talk to you later. And that was that. Like, you fucker, dude.
He's like, I'm eating a pita right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone Chitin Defense Bison kits. Man, I haven't checked in with him in a while, but the last time I checked, I think that it looked like he was starting to fulfill some of the orders that people had prepaid for, so that's good.
Let me see here. I haven't peeped his Instagram in forever. When's the last time he posted? 49 weeks ago. That's why I haven't heard about it. I can remember these things being hot and heavy a while ago, and then it's just been crickets for a while. But yeah, this is
I bought some PKM parts from him back, maybe a year or two ago. He seemed like a nice guy. I just never really thought that this had really gotten enough traction that you could reliably get everything. So if people are getting parts for them, that's great.
Mm-hmm. He said they're still in production. The machinist took a dump and screwed the lad making them. Well,
that happens.
yeah.
FAL AR hybrid thing.
Oh, I saw Military Arms Channel post something about that.
Hey, let's go through Clayco's DMs. That would be a fun game to play.
It's all a bunch of group
Okay.
chats with like sex workers. You know, you'll like look in your requests, and it'll be you and a bunch of your friends in a group chat with some like, I promise I'm real. Send me money for nudes. Those kind of things. Here, it's this thing.
Have y'all met Izzy yet? Look at this pup. We named her Izzy. Pretty cool name, huh? Hey. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Want to say hi?
There you go.
Oh. What's that?
It's this thing. This is the FAL AR hybrid that he's talking about. I don't know what you call it. Yeah, I saw the thumbnail the other day. I didn't watch the video, but I saw there was a thumbnail where he was doing something on this thing.
Who makes it?
I don't know. He doesn't say in the title. The Brigade Makashi rifle is a mashup between the AR and the FAL.
Hey, speaking of FALs, it'd be really cool if DSA was coming to Kalash Bash.
It'd be cool to have some other legacy gun variants out there other than AKs, like FALs, like some roller guns. You know what I mean? We all like that kind of stuff.
All right. Let's see here. Is PSA selling the STG-44 replicas yet? I haven't heard anything about that.
I have no idea. That was never something that's really interested me that they were doing. I love the H&R stuff that they're doing. I just think that was right up my alley. The carry hand,
retro guns, man.
Stuff. Yeah. I remember last SHOT Show, dude. We had such a good conversation with the gentleman from H&R. Do you remember his name? I don't. But man, we had such a long talk with him.
The guy that used to be Nodex Bud.
Correct. I don't remember his name, but he turned out to be the coolest guy in person. And I remember we were like, man, will we hold that the way he's like, oh, you mean you want me to hold it like a FUD, and like did this perfect pose with this old A1. He's like, I know what they want to see. They want to see that chicken wing. And he's like, perfect. And they had a 9mm like Colt subgun clone. I don't think it ever came out, but that was super cool. They had XM177 stuff, and then of course the M16A1 stuff. But that was, as far as what PSA has been doing, that's really gotten me juiced up lately.
Someone's asking about the CMMG MK47. I have a few comments on that. We saw that gun. We just saw that gun at the AR-15. Whatever that. I guess it was like a.
It was called Gunstock.
Gunstock. There we go. We just saw that at Gunstock, and it's a little personal for me because I see CMMG at a lot of these like big events, and they're doing these like full auto mag dumps. They seem to, really have a lot of really good energy out at these events. But for whatever reason, we've reached out to them several times, asking if they'd be interested in coming out to Kalash Bash. We asked them if they wanted to come Lethal Weapons. And I don't know, I don't know if there's some intimidation on their end that, like the AK crowd, wouldn't really buy into that. This is more of like an AR guy that wants to shoot AK ammo. I don't know, but I think it'd be really, really cool to have them out there. So if you're watching this live stream, perhaps if some people left comments, on the MK47 content saying, hey, bring it to Kalash Bash, maybe that would inspire them a little bit to come out. But remember, we were talking to the guy, and it was like, I don't know, it kind of felt like it just kind of went over his head. Like, I don't think he really got what we were
Yeah,
trying to say. It was like,
yeah, you see this mag that goes in here? Well, we have an event that uses this mag a lot, and I think these people would really appreciate having you out there. And it's probably the exact crowd you're going for with this gun. And I've been bugging you guys for years to come out. And you go to all these events. I'm telling you, this crowd's the coolest crowd you'd ever be around. And
yeah,
I don't know, it
like,
seems like it just sort of like right over their head. They just don't really get the Kalash Bash thing. I don't know.
It was like, so do you have any questions about the gun?
Yeah, he's like, so anything else you need? Any other questions about? That's exactly how it was.
We'll see.
I was just talking to AK Quality Enforcement today, and he's like, "Man, did you ever talk to Battle Arms?" I'm like, a couple of years ago, Battle Arms was really big on, hey, we're gonna start building AKs. We've got these triggers, and like they were fully signed up to KB a couple years ago. But I remember when we got close, they called us and they were super cool about it. They were like, guys, we can't. Making AKs is hard, and we don't have any that we've made yet. We're probably not going to do it anytime soon. We don't want to like overpromise and underdeliver. We just can't. All we have right now are these AK triggers. And we said, don't worry about it. We'll get someone to fill that spot if you can't do it. And still to this day, we bumped into them at this same event. And I was telling AK Quality, like, yeah, I think they have completely abandoned the idea of let's build AKs because they didn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah. It's hard because I imagine, I'm just going to make a guess, right? When they said we're getting AKs, it probably started with, there's a pipeline of the ability to get trunnions and bolts and carriers, which is like the essential guts of an AK. The rest of it's pretty easy to get. There's several companies out there. I'm sure a lot of the big US made AK companies, some of them are probably using some of the same vendors for certain things. But I think that pipeline of being able to get those parts can probably be inconsistent. You may not always be able to get stuff like that. So I think a company like that who's just trying to dabble with it probably talked themselves out of it and just said, why go through the process of creating a production workflow if we don't even know if we're going to be able to get the parts all year long?
Was at a Halloween party, drunk AF, just tapped in. What's good, Clay fam? Actually, we're just logging off, man. Sorry. You just missed it.
You're late to the party.
Valmet versus the K2. Both of those I freaking love. I love Daewoo's. God, I love them. They're so cool.
Yeah, we definitely need to get one of those in our inventory. You said you like the folding stock or the. I guess it's like a tube stock.
The tube stock's cool, but I like the K2 because it actually has the gas piston. It's a better shooter in my opinion. It feels better, and it has a gas block with multiple settings. So there's just more going on with the K2 that I like. But the K1's cool.
I'm a folding stock guy.
Yeah,
I'll make that sacrifice. Well, good. Well,
oh yeah, he'd be a great one to talk to if he's willing to talk.
He's been in the game for a long time. A piece of history firearms. I remember his name. Mark Krebs, Jim Fuller, Two Rivers. I mean, there was shit, dude. I mean, I'd have to go back in time to remember a lot of those names, but
Parker, yes, I would love to review a WBP 5.56 Jack. I really want to post sample an AK that people would want to see, like honestly care about how it does. I'd love to post sample and do a meltdown on a 5.56 AK because that's, as far as I know, never been done. Especially we know how 5.45 does. We know it bursts the barrel. We know what a 7.62 AK does. The barrel droops and it causes malfunctions. But 5.56 being a very fast, hot round, I'm very curious to see what that does with a very hot barrel on an AK. If I had to guess, I think it would pop the barrel a little bit faster than 545 typically does. And WBP, I think would be a cool AK to do that on. That seems to be an AK people really care about. Anytime I'm asked about, hey man, I'm looking at a 556 AK, people are always saying M90 or WBP because they're around the same price. So I know those are like the two common options that people are thinking of. It's either that or you're paying $2,000 for a Sam 5, or you're taking a chance and you're spending like $600-700 on the PSA 556s. But those two, the M90 and the Jack, the WBP, seem to be the two that a lot of people are choosing between.
Yeah. I think that's probably the play. I just got in a 7.62 Jack that I had meant to do some filming, and I spoke to Lord Draco himself.
Oh, the one and only.
Lord Draco over at Arms of America. And I said, send it with the goofy furniture the sporter furniture. Like, leave the plastic bullshit on it, because that's what I want to unbox, you know?
Yeah.
And then I could do a video on explaining why AK parts need to be filed on and adjusted, because I'm sure the wood that they sent isn't going to fit. I'm going to have to do some hand fitting on it. But really nice gun at first glance.
Do you guys know of Lord Draco?
Lord Draco himself?
Do you remember meeting him for the first time at that meet and greet we did at ETTS?
Yeah. He was so cool, dude.
Yeah. I remember he was totally head to toe, like all steampunk, and he was holding the crank, and I was like, say something cool, like say I'm all out of bubble gum. And he just looks at the camera and he's like, I'm all out of bubble gum, and does this crazy mag dump. I'm like, all right, fuck that up a little bit. I'm gonna give you another mag this time. Really mean it this time. And he does it like 2 or 3 times, and we became best friends. Then I found out he goes by Lord Draco 3. I'm assuming the third of his name. But he works at AOA. Super cool guy.
Yeah, very, very cool guy. And like him, this is something we should do again, Clay. But for a lot of y'all watching, when we were promoting the very first Kalash Bash, we went on a tour. Right?
Like
this is before the first Kalash Bash?
Excuse me. This was after the first one. I think it was after we had done the reschedule because of COVID, and we had all this extra time. So we were like, let's go do meet and greets to kind of soak up all this time that we're losing because we rescheduled 6 months out.
We wanted to like really just drum up a lot of momentum and interest in the big cities here. So we started at did we go to San Antonio first?
I think we went to ETTS first and then San Antonio, because I remember it was super hot that second time, and then rounded it out back home and near Houston.
And San Antonio was fun. We were at the Lone Star, and dude, how many people came? I mean, there's like 50 people showed up at that range.
Yeah.
A lot of the OGs that we see at Kalash Bash every year were there, and it was like, it was so much fun, dude. We need to do that again.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go around and have range days, like just casual range days.
And 26 lemon heads. Yeah, lemon grenade. Yeah, M26 lemon grenades. That's another dude. Brad. You should follow him on YouTube. He does a lot of AK stuff.
Yeah, I'll keep my opinion of myself on those.
Here's a good one. The Riley Defense crinks. Did you guys see that? Riley Defense was teasing that they have crinks. I bet SHOT Show they're going to have something on display. I will go film that shit.
Yeah, I read up a little bit on those too. They'll probably be crink in appearance, you know. That's another company that we reached out to, and we said, you know, you should really come to Kalash Bash. I think you'd be able to answer a lot of questions. I think a lot of people have questions, and they were like, "Are there going to be internet people there?"
Yes, some of these companies that have good or bad or indifferent reputations, some of them are very aware, and they are very nervous about going to public events. They just,
Yeah.
and it honestly, it's kind of sad that they feel that way, because I'm sure they do. There are people out there that just live to ridicule certain companies, and
Yeah.
some of these people are like, well, cool.
Will there be internet people there?
Yeah,
there will be a lot of people there. Some of them have the internet.
Yeah.
Looks good though.
I'm from the internet, but I'm here to help.
Yes. I'm from the future.
Lower handguard's a little different looking. It's like the ribs like stop right there. It's interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, that would be a fun one to get hands on and see it in person.
Looks like someone took these pictures with a potato, though. But what are you gonna do?
I'd really love to know more about that company.
Yeah.
What were they before they were Riley Defense? I'm sure there's some people involved in that company that maybe were involved in other companies. Be curious to
know. People keep asking about this, and I'm honestly kind of curious too. If the 101 ever will come out, it's probably one of the most hotly anticipated AKs for the past couple of years. Seen it at SHOT Show 2 years in a row now. I'm going to be honest though. Regardless of our relationship with KUSA, good or bad or whatever, if the 101 were to come out, I could see myself buying one, just because whatever happens with KUSA, let's say a year from now, if it doesn't work out great, I don't think the KUSA guns are bad. I mean, the one that we had actually worked out pretty good. That would probably one I'd like to swipe before maybe something happened to the company. And then I could say, hey, I've got one of those pre-buyout K101s right. That's all valuable now.
Oh, you brought me a drink? Thank you. Hey, do y'all ever drink these High Noons? They're so good. You ever drink these, Clay? They're kind of a bitch drink, but they're good.
I was going to say, I have to set my purse down to pick that little guy up.
So Rebecca just brought me one of these guys right there. Look at that.
Oh, nice. I've been super thirsty for an hour, and Rachel's probably in there eating pizza and drinking all the drink.
Rachel, make him a sandwich.
We're going on about 2.5 hours here. What do you say we give it about 10 more minutes?
And call it a night?
And then we'll call it a night. Yeah, we have a match tomorrow. And Rachel has to wake up at 5 in the morning. And if there's one thing Rachel really sucks at, it's waking up in the morning, really at any time. Really, any time before 11 o'clock, she's no good. 5 o'clock's pushing it.
Is this the Texas Kalashnikov match?
Yes.
Dang. Hey, does he do that all year long, or does he cut it off at some point?
All year long, every month.
Dang. I need to go out there.
Clay, would you ever make vids visiting non-domestic manufacturers, like shop tours? I don't know, maybe.
Do you have a passport?
No, I don't. I can get one though.
Let's get that first.
But visit who? FB maybe? Can't go to Russia.
Well, we were invited to potentially go to Bulgaria that one time, remember?
Yeah. I feel like if we wanted to, I bet if we got to know Ronco a bit better, maybe Zastava factory might be a possibility. But we know Giga and Samo from Polnar are pretty good, and there's a lot of manufacturing going on in Slovenia, several different companies. We could probably do something like that, maybe.
Dude, what would be cool to do here in the States? Century, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Century ever would let you go into their vault, you know, considering the amount of firearms that have gone through their, just the import side of their business, do I bet Century would probably rival what we see at Collector's Firearms. Like,
Oh yeah.
Century's probably got crates of shit. Like, that would probably be somehow one day to negotiate that into a deal with them and go, hey, we want the keys to the really, really special vault that only a few people get to go in. Kavar 2.
Yeah.
Kavar would be another one that's like,
I've seen
they
that.
wouldn't, Kavar wouldn't let you because they would say, you can't tell people what you saw back here.
No. I've seen the door to that mystery room that everyone talks about. Back in the day, we were really tight with the VP that they had at the time, Brian Hardy, who's an attorney. And he let Chris and I come to the KVAR facility once and showed us that room that no one's allowed into, not even the people that work there, that only Vartan goes into. So that room does exist. That is a real room that has some super special stuff. That would be the holy grail. Like, who would actually be the first guy that Vartan would let in that room and actually film it for the first time? That would be cool.
There's probably a warehouse of inventory that only one person knows what the actual inventory is in that warehouse. Yeah, we're pretty tight with Jason at Century, and we've asked him in the past if it would ever be possible to walk Century's, you know, real special. I don't think we were told no, but we weren't told yes.
Do you remember at SHOT Show when we had our meeting with Adam at Century, and he's like, "You guys want to see something really cool that you're not allowed to talk about ever? I'll kill you."
Yeah,
like, yeah. And he showed us a couple guns.
We filmed it.
Yeah, we filmed it. Oh, God, I hope I don't even know where that footage is, but we filmed it, and it was they like brokered the deal right then and there, and he brought a couple guns back.
And they still haven't said anything about those guns yet.
He's like, we're going to be selling these soon. I was like, get the fuck out of here. They're super cool. Super cool.
Good people to know. You know, there's a lot of opinions about them, you know, as a company. But I'll never forget what Jason Carvoy said when they first came out to Kalash Bash. And he said, the reality is, like, out of the hundreds of people here, if they're shooting a Wasser or, like, for example, my M70 AB2, like, there's so many guns that Century had their hands in with importing. Both of my SKSs. One of them is like a minty, absolute minty Tula SKS. Has CAI barely engraved on the end of the barrel. You know, it was like, what did he say? He's like, I'd be willing to bet whoever wins Kalash Bash, if they're shooting a Century gun, like,
yep,
we'll just give them a free gun. Like,
the first time I ever met Jason was at Red October. It was 2016 or 2017, and like, I remember back then, that's when the Century hate was through the roof. But Jason gave this speech where I was like, that's pretty freaking good point. He gave a speech because they were a sponsor of Red October, and he said, hey, everyone that shot this match, if you have Century Arms, if you have CAI written on your gun anywhere, then we're going to give you something special. And dude, it was like 70% of the dudes there that were shooting something imported by Century. And he said at one time, it was like some crazy number, like 75% to 90% of the AKs and a lot of surplus guns that were in the country had CAI stamped on them somewhere. Like, the sheer amount of volume they have brought into this country is like leaps and bounds above anything anyone else has done. They've imported that much. Regardless of how you feel about their domestically produced AKs, what they have imported, I mean, they have a huge hand in building AK and surplus culture in this country because they brought so much in.
Yeah, I bet some of the coolest shit that you see on the secondhand market, Century probably had a hand in bringing that shit into the country.
Yeah. I think I was sitting next to Poppy Martin as this speech was being given. He was there. He saw it. All right, y'all. We got about 3 more minutes. Tell us your deepest,
Hey.
darkest desires.
Thank you for letting me join. I was having dinner. I made this delicious salmon, and I was just enjoying that. And then I had some free time, and I said I want to join. I want to jump in. So thank you for welcoming, despite my shitty internet bandwidth.
Yeah, it's not good.
I got to get it. Everyone's switching to fiber now. I think I'm going to switch to fiber.
Yeah, we're on fiber. They buried a line all the way up to our house.
Who did you go with? If you
It's
don't
a
mind me asking.
company called Takas. They're local.
Okay.
Are they in your area?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the shit, dude. Out here, everyone's going to them.
Everyone's getting like pretty competitive pricing compared. I have Xfinity now, but
yeah,
anyways.
Mario can't see. to this day, it's this inside joke, dude. We were sitting on the bleachers at Red October watching the final shoot off, and Papi Martin has a very thick accent. Those of you that have met him in person, we're sitting behind this dude, and like we can't see over this dude's head, and Papi Martin's like, "Hey, can't see." And ever since then, I'll see him and I'll be like, "Hey, can't see," and he's like, "Can't see." Just perfect.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you for the people in the comments. Thank you for your questions, and a lot of y'all are familiar names and familiar faces. And
Hand me
if
that
I'll probably end up seeing y'all. What are we? October?
Yep.
In about 6 months, we'll be seeing a lot of y'all out at Kalash Bash.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
There's Morty, Jamie. Say hello.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Look, it's Morty.
Oh, look, it's your friend.
Do you see Morty? Look right here. Look, it's a puppy.
Morty, he looks so clear. I can't even tell what kind of dog that is with his
Yeah,
Oh, poor Izzy.
get rid of that crap.
So that looks like a blob.
Dull tone internet he has. Come on, S'mores. Let's go see.
Well, everybody, yeah, I
Right.
agree. I couldn't say this. These events are made to create memories. I've spent some of the best nights of my life at these 8K events. And I know there's so many people that go out that tell me all the time. They're like, dude, we have group chats that we call the Kalash Bash group chat. None of us live next to each other. We all meet at this one place. We all carpool together every year. This is like the one time we all see each other. We talk all year long. What are we going to build? What are we going to wear? What Airbnb are we getting? Who's buying the camps? Who's bringing the tents? Who's cooking the food? That's the stuff that gets me going, man. And what I enjoy most about it are the people that you meet that you only see that one time a year. Pascal being to me like one of the coolest ever. Dude flies all the way from Germany once a year to do this, and never wouldn't even know this guy existed had it not been for Kalash Bash and him deciding to come all the way to Texas to hang out with us. And now he is flying back to the country to hang out with people that he met at Kalash Bash, and it's not even Kalash Bash. He's up north hanging with
Yeah, he's in US right now.
Yeah, he's in US right now.
With Tommy. It's
Yeah.
his birthday
Tomislav.
today.
He's hanging out with Tomislav right now.
So, it's
He
birthday.
texted me either yesterday or the day before. I want to read the text that he sent me. Where is it? I don't know if he's on a burner phone or
He got a cricket while
Okay.
he was in the country.
yeah. Pascal texted me on Thursday, and this is the text I got from him. Wah wah wee wah, king in the castle. I wish you a nice weekend, even though it's Thursday. I just arrived in Chicago. Kind regards. And last time I texted him when he was here, I sent him a naked picture of some very curvy women, and he said, "Thank you very much. I like."
Dude, that's perfect.
But this is a different number than the last number he had, so I guess I see Pascal on the little flip phone. burner phone.
Whoa. Sitting in his chair with his phone. Oh, do this. Go do this.
Oh man, I can't wait to see him. Hey, can I ask a favor of you?
Yeah.
Between now and Kalash Bash, can we do a live stream like this where we invite like attendees, people who've attended in the past, and then maybe we hash out some of these fun ideas. Like just a second ago, gosh, you were just talking about something. But maybe we can hash out. Or you were talking about the campground, right? Like, how cool would it be if we could have a couple of people that are camping? Like Friday night is one of those nights where it can maybe get a little wild because everyone's there, they're all excited, but we really want people to save their energy for what we have planned Saturday night. But like, what might be cool would be if we could find some campers that would champion doing like a cook-off, like Friday, and then we come in as the judges, right? You could be Chef Ramsay and I could be Chef Boyardee, and we walk around and we taste test, and then we, right, do an elimination.
I think that would be cool.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
Pascal should be like an honorary judge just because he would call everything shit.
Yeah.
This is shit.
If your food's not good, you have to arm wrestle Pascal.
Yes. Pascal has never been beaten. Not once.
You know, they have all this like celebrity YouTube boxing and stuff like that. I'm seeing an opportunity with maybe an arm wrestling competition. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here and start drinking my drink. Y'all have fun at the match tomorrow. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. And for everyone watching, thank you all for watching. Still like 140 you staying up late, so that's super cool. Jerry K, I see you in there, man. Yeah, he's gonna bring his walk and do a stir fry.
Oh, dude, hell yeah.
Adam's down to cook. A lot of you guys are down to cook. Very cool. Hey, I appreciate you all watching. Have a good weekend. I know some of you are going to be at the match tomorrow. Jerry, I'll see you there. And use that link below, man. Get registered. Hold on, dude. Hold on, brother. And you got to get registered for Kalash Bash. All right?
You got to do it.
Kalash Bash 2069 AI overreach is completely out of control. The only guns that work anymore are these dusty AKs that we've dug up underground. And we got to do something. AI's out of control, man. No one's writing their term papers anymore. The Film Actors Guild strike didn't do anything. AI is writing all the movies, writing all the comic books, writing all the podcasts. Anyway, love you all. Use that link down below. Get pre-registered. There's only a few days left while that link's going to work as pre-registration. Then you got to wait until November 1st, and the link turns into the ticket link. All right. I love everyone. Bye.
All right, love y'all. Have a good night. Bye-bye.